And we are live. Hey, everybody, this is Roberto Blake. Hope you create something awesome today. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today, we've got another YouTube channel review stream for you. We're going to be reviewing as many as 10 different YouTube channels, giving actionable advice on something that you're doing well, something you need to be doing better at, and also something you can do right away that should have a big improvement on your channel. Most of this critique is going to focus on topic, timing, thumbnail, sorry, topic, title, thumbnail, and timing, the four T's as usual. And also we're going to hover over the videos, get a sense of some of your production values. Cannot play and watch your videos for reviews since we're trying to keep these under 6 to 8 minutes so we can get everybody's reviews in. We're doing a night owl edition this time. We've already got our first super chat in. Rules are in the description. If you're watching the replay, welcome. We try to do these Fridays in the evenings for the weekend warriors getting off of work. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we get all the super chat reviews in. We're going to do them in order. We're going to show them here on screen for you. And we're going to make sure that we get people constructive criticism, feedback, and advice. We're going to seed in some general information more of you need to know about YouTube whenever it's prudent. We'll get to a couple of questions in the chat. We've got the mod squad on deck to make sure they're answering your questions. And we want to shout out some folks. First of all, you guys see me wearing a Kajabi hat. They're not a sponsor for the streams right now, but we're going to shout them out anyway. If you're trying to do thought leader content and you want to do coaching, courses, cohorts, you need to be using Kajabi. Don't split 30 to 50% of your money with platforms. Go ahead and keep all of your money by signing up for Kajabi and having your own private membership website, one-on-one coaching calls, group cohorts if you want to do workshops, and of course, you can have your own digital products and courses as well. I've been using them for 7 years, still a paying customer, by the way, and it's worked out great for the members of Awesome Creator Academy. You can also check out our free Creator Foundations course linked in the description. Shout out to our friends over at Kajabi. Also, our live streams are brought to you right now by our good friends over at 1 of 10 Strategy. If you're trying to grow your YouTube channel, we definitely recommend them when it comes to being able to find outlier videos, do research on your competitors, and also see which titles, topics, and thumbnails are working in your niche. So we definitely want to shout out our good friends over at 1 of 10 Strategy. This is something that I've been using in a lot of the channel reviews and coaching calls to show people what their competitors are doing on YouTube. So, this is something that you want to take a look at if you're looking for a modern YouTube tool that can help you grow. It is able to use these advanced filters so you can see which video topics are getting views right now for the last month, the last 3 months, the last 6 months, so you can make things that are relevant to your audience. So shout out to our friends over at 1 of 10 Strategy. Make sure you're checking them out. Linked in the description. Use discount code Roberto for 50% off. Use discount code AWESOME for a free trial. So we're going to go ahead and we have our first channel review request already queued up from Paris Tube. And so we're going to review his channel, which looks like it's focused on self-improvement and development. I've actually pre-screened this channel. There's some interesting stuff here. He notes that he is going the platform agnostic route, which is actually probably a good idea for this type of content, if we're being honest. So that's an interesting note. He also wants to know what to do about copyright claim where the owners are allowing it to be shared. In general, you guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Avoid copyright content and things from TVs and movie shows if you're not specifically a TV and movie show review channel. If you're not a TV show review channel, just avoid using TV shows and movies in your content for the most part. The exception would be if you're going to do a strategy for something like Charisma on Command is doing. If you're going to do a strategy like that, that can be different. But the main thing is most of them are just going to claim your money and your revenue. And I don't think most of you want to make a video that somebody else is getting paid for. So I wouldn't bother unless you're literally not interested in getting paid for those videos and you can live with it as long as it's getting you views and subscribers. That would be one thing. I see no value in using copyrighted material on YouTube, if I'm being honest. So yeah, so for that one, I definitely would not bother with the copyright material. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the channel review and we'll talk more about this. All right, so here we have Paris Tube. One thing I'm going to say right off the bat is I do think that this needs a branding upgrade. I don't think that this the banner and the thumbnails overall lend themselves to a channel that people are going to prioritize and destination channel. So you want to work on this. Now, we've done some things before. We might have to do, just because so many people struggle with this, we might have to make some kind of basic template that we end up giving away for free. I work really hard with graphic design and doing template stuff, and this isn't to try to pitch you or sell you on my products, but so many of you struggle with just a basic, clean YouTube banner ad and not knowing what fonts to use, not knowing how to make this thing look good. That at this point, we're gonna have to probably just give away a template on this for free, just to help people, especially in the channel review streams, improve it. I know that everyone's not a graphic designer and photographer, but the way your brand presents, there's 115 million channels on YouTube. Less than 1 million channels are even a priority to people at this point. Less than 3 million have made it into the partner program. There are 3 million or so channels that have over 10,000 subscribers, and that's it out of 115 million. Top 3% of channels getting 90% of all the traffic on YouTube. It's hard to make people put you as a priority. It's just like in real life, you have to dress to impress. And so when the graphics are not there, when people at a glance don't see high quality thumbnails, they move on and they don't make a video priority. They do not give it a chance. So I'm going to tell you right off the bat that that's an issue. The other, so that has to improve immediately. The thing that needs to improve immediately is the banner here, the thumbnail, sorry, the profile icon. The profile icon, if you're gonna, you have your face in your videos. It should just be your face, and it should be a good photo with you smiling, and it should be your face. A banner here, you're talking about all around improvement. At no point in this banner does it tell me what to expect from you in terms of how often you're going to upload videos. So a video consistency schedule of some kind, knowing that you're going to post at least once a week, would be really helpful. And I don't see that here. It's hard to make a channel a priority when I don't know what to expect and there's not a promise being made. Now you're saying tech, home, body, mind. That's too much, my friend. It's too much. I understand wanting to offer a holistic approach to self-improvement, but I just don't think it's the answer. I also do not recommend you uploading these short videos from TV shows. I don't think it has any value. I don't think it helps you grow. I don't think people see this and then watch your other content. I don't think you can get people to go from this and say, "Oh, they'll give my other content a chance." No, they will not. They're there for that TV show from the 80s or 90s, and then they move on. It's empty calories. I would not recommend. Now it's good that you got on this how to assemble some very specific things and how to use some specific things. You're getting some views on that. Um, you covered this stuff that is a little more esoteric with Shiva and Bahamut. I frankly don't see the crossover value of people who are learning how to install door locks to them caring about Shiva and Bahamut. So I would throw that out if I'm being honest with you. And I think you paid for some painfully honest advice today. The overwhelming majority of what has worked for your channel is things that help people improve and organize their home. And it's not even close. Aside from one-off esoteric videos, the thing that has worked successfully on your channel, and by that I mean things that have thousands of views, exclusively help people with home maintenance, home improvement, and home repair with gadgets that they would enjoy. It's the disproportionate out of all the videos you've uploaded thing that is working on your channel. I would private all the other content that is not this, which may not be what you want to hear, but even with this, you have tech here. What I would do is I would stick to product reviews, and I would do product reviews and how-to guides for individual products. And those products can be a variety of gadgets that help people in their life or around their home. And if I were you, I would prioritize gadgets and technology that people are looking for based on what is popular on TikTok and in TikTok Shop. And I would prioritize what has sponsors in Amazon, meaning people are paying to drive traffic to that device or that device category. And so I would focus on that because then we know that there are people who are going to look for reviews on those products. Everything you have with over 1,000 views on your channel is essentially a product review, a how-to guide, or a installation guide, or a how to use and how to repair something. So here's the thing. People are not coming to you for spirituality. Out of all of your top videos, you have like 2, maybe 3 esoteric videos out of your top 100 videos where that's the case. So I would scrap that. If you want to talk about that, maybe make an Instagram for doing that. And maybe that's your answer if you want to express yourself. Here, it's gotta be a focus on tech and home. Nobody out of your most 100 most popular videos is coming to you for body, mind, and soul. So guess what? Tech and home it is. You pare it down. And I would private every single video um that isn't focused on that. And I would also, there can be some how-tos that are a little bit more general here, but you have very few. I think altogether you might have 5 videos out of 70 or so. You have 5 videos out of 70 where you got over 1,000 views talking about esoteric things like religion or belief systems. Scrap it, make an Instagram or TikTok for it. For YouTube, stick to tech and home videos, drastically improve the thumbnails. You succeeded in spite of some 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5 thumbnails. If you improve the thumbnails, and I'll show you who does great thumbnails on YouTube for this kind of stuff. It's going to be Jeff. So Jeff with El Jefe Reviews does excellent thumbnails. I remember when he was a small YouTuber under 10,000. These are what are some of the best branded thumbnails in the tech space on YouTube. And El Jefe's got 150K. He's not a mega creator. And he started out very humble beginnings, very modestly, but just kept going, kept going. And he's been through hard times with his wife passing, and he still kept trucking, kept improving. But you want tech and thumbnails and product review thumbnails for things for home improvement, gadgets, and tech. Stick to home and tech, and stick to lifestyle tech, and stick to things that can help people around the house. But this is the quality of thumbnails that gets views when it comes to the tech space. When it comes to the tech space, this is what you want. Yeah, I'm fine with you doing a Spotify or a podcast. If you want to do all the spiritual stuff, do the spiritual stuff as as a podcast. If you want to do the spiritual stuff, do it as a podcast. And in terms of any body stuff, if you want to do a brand around a fitness journey, your Instagram and TikTok could be great for a fitness journey. But I would move YouTube channel to focusing around gadgets, tech, how-to guides for gadgets and tech that can be recreational or can be home improvement. And like I said, I would study what tech people are buying from TikTok Shop, what's reviewing viral TikTok gadgets. And I would also look to Amazon and look at things people are putting money behind in Amazon. Those Amazon sellers are putting money behind their products. That means that there are people searching for reviews on them. So if you review them, you can get views and you can get those sweet Amazon affiliate commissions. So that's what I would do when it comes to that. But I would step your thumbnail game up, learn a little bit of Photoshop, and I would learn a little bit of photography, get on Jeff's level here, and I think that you'll be good. I also think that obviously the production values can stand to improve. And I know what you're trying to do by putting this stuff on screen in terms of instructions on the side on screen, but that's too small. No one's gonna be able to read that, even at full screen. No one's gonna be able to read that. So if you want people to have some understanding of instructions, you're gonna have to find a more creative way to approach it. So that would be my thoughts. But I think that the big thing that has to improve here, besides the content strategy, is the visuals have to improve. I think that obviously there's room to improve production value, but I would prioritize for views. For views, the production value is not going to be as big a deal. That's a retention issue. For views, you need to address the branding, everything from the banner here to the profile pic should be a profile pic of you with a good photo, smiling face, and then the thumbnail game needs to step up. And the thumbnail game, I gave you the gold standard here, which is going to be Jeff from El Jefe Reviews, because he's absolutely killing it. And I would go with product-centric thumbnails. You don't have to be in the thumbnail. I would go product-centric. I'd also do comparison videos. So that's going to be my advice for you. Um, Thank you, Paris Tube, for the super chat, and let me review your channel. One thing I will say that you have done well is you've been going at this for a long time. Um, sure, there have been lapses in consistency, but you've been just posting, posting, posting. You clearly have a passion for wanting to upload videos. You've uploaded over 700 videos. Most people can't get past their first 100 videos. So the compliment I'm going to give you is that you keep trying and you keep learning and you keep going. So I do want to compliment you on that, but there is room for improvement here, and hopefully, you take this review with a grain of salt. Everything here is said with love, my friend. Best of luck to you. But what did you all think? Did you think that I gave Paris Tube a fair review? Do you think that I'm right about the thumbnails, about paring down and moving the spiritual and esoteric content maybe to a Spotify podcast, moving the, fitness or anything related to that to an Instagram and TikTok, scenario where he can kind of focus here on the things that people want from him. The audience, in my view, clearly wants product reviews and they're enjoying those. They've given and rewarded that with thousands of views, in some case, tens of thousands of views. So I think that that's what he should stick to. There's clearly a demand for it. It's what the audience wants more than anything else. But what do you think? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the comment section if you're watching the replay. Yep, but that was our review for Paris. I think there's a lot that many of you could learn from that review in terms of things like with banners, for example. I say you need to make a promise to the audience with that sort of thing. And then with the profile pics, a lot of you don't realize having that smiling face and having something that people like when they see that helps with comments. It helps with potential brand recognition if your face is going to be in the thumbnails, it helps in terms of relating those two things. If you are commenting on other places or other channels, it helps you to be attractive and look good and to get people to be interested in there. Same thing for the headline. That's the first line of your about section. It shows that when people hover on your profile on another channel's comment section. So I would pay attention to those things. And like I said with the banner, I like seeing a promise from the creator. I like knowing why I'm here. How often do you upload? That's something that I feel if you are recommended a channel, somebody refers a channel, you share a channel on your other social media profiles, when they land on it, what's the first impression that they're seeing when they get to the channel? I think it's very important. Yeah, Terry W says the review of that channel answered one of my big questions on logo versus face and profile pic. Yeah, if you're a faceless channel, it's logo. If it's a brand and business that you heavily promote or send ads to, then it's a logo. If it is your face that's going to be on camera and your name is in the channel, it's your face. It's your face. So those would be things that I would look at. Um, I might include some ideas around this in a 15 tips for new YouTubers video because it might seem beyond basic to me, but clearly it's something that a lot of people have questions about. So I'm happy to add that to the list in an updated video around 15 tips for small YouTubers. When we do these reviews, we also want to give you guys some advice beyond just the channel who's reviewed. So I'm glad a lot of you are learning by coming to the streams because I do, that's the goal. That's what I would like to be happening is I would like for you guys to get an understanding. So like I said, if you're a faceless channel, it's your logo or what have you, or the representation in the channel. If you're a company and you also run advertising, then it can be your logo. If your face is on camera, your face is in the profile pic. That's the rule. I mean, and by rule, I mean that's the guide. That's my guidance. That's my advice. All right. So we have returning super chat, longtime friend of the channel, the Salon Guy. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Hey Roberto, I made a lot of changes to my thumbnails, titles, and posting time. All good. I'm getting sick of troll comments, so I shifted my content towards hair pros again, but my views tanked. I'd love your review, man. Okay, I'm gonna look at this. But when you do shift your content, do keep in mind that when you narrow in on professionals, and this is in almost any category, the average consumer outnumbers the professional value creator in every case, right? For example, the people who get views in YouTube education, all they do for the most part and all they need to do is interview big entertainment YouTubers that everyone goes gaga over, and they'll get like 100,000 to a million views on their videos by just interviewing famous people. And you don't have to learn or relate to anything with these rich and famous people at all. You can learn from them. I learn from them. But the average person, the small YouTuber under 20,000 subscribers, very rarely is going to get any nugget of wisdom from somebody who's a deca millionaire, someone who's worth $10 million, someone with 10 million subscribers. It's not usually gonna help any more than that small business owner that's trying to make their first $50,000 a year is not going to learn from Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Mark Cuban. It's not going to really work out so well. They need to be talking to somebody that is making like 150, quarter million a year, half a million a year even, and then that business owner could learn to get to that level, to that next level. But talking to someone who's like a billionaire is not the answer. It's not that there's no possibility of gaining high level wisdom from them. It's not applicable boots on the ground. Same thing with YouTube education content. I do not think that 100,000 to a million people are watching like a Mr. Beast interview to actually learn anything. They're watching it because they want to learn about him as the biggest entertainer in YouTube, they don't want to learn actually how to become a successful YouTuber, and they're not going to if they watch that. That being said, my content, look at my content. My content has a narrow focus on those of you who actually want to be content creators. It's going to get less views because there are more consumers than there are creators. Remember, there are almost 3 billion consumers of YouTube right now across the globe, and there's only 115 million creators, but the creators that are making content people want to watch, there's only 3 million or so of those. And by that, I mean creators who've gotten to 10,000 subscribers have proven that people want to watch their content. Okay, so there's 3 million of those, right? So it's 3 million serious creators or creators who've like proven competency. It's 3 million competent creators versus 3 billion consumers. 3 billion consumers to 3 million creators. So whenever you narrow your focus to, I'm just going to deal with professionals, I'm just going to deal with educated people and everything like that, you're outnumbered. And the differential is 1,000 to 1. It's 1,000 to 1 in terms to value creators versus consumers. It's 1,000 to 1 if you're lucky. It's 1,000 to 1 if you're lucky. Usually it's going to be 10,000 to 1. So that's just the modest numbers on the surface of it. And you're seeing it in your own content because I see your other comment. We're gonna definitely get to your review, but you say interesting info on the pro demo. I never knew that, but when I did interview and film with celebrities, my views were always higher. Well, yeah, this is the reason. Those people who came to your celebrity stuff, they weren't that interested in how to do what you're doing and how to cut and style hair. They're just people who feed off of the spectacle of, ooh, there's a celebrity. They aren't really interested in something substantive. If Kim Kardashian decided to give a lecture about how she built her empire, the majority of people there are going to be Kim Kardashian fans. They're not going to be savvy women who want to build businesses. If Kim Kardashian decides that she wants to help small business owners and she even has a $2,000 ticket for that, you're going to have a bunch of fangirls and a lot of people that just want a selfie with Kim Kardashian that pay and find the $2,000 just like they would for a Taylor Swift concert to go to that. They're not going to be there to become millionaire savvy businesswomen. So that's kind of the trade-off is when you decide that you want to deal with serious people and pros only and people who are trying to aspiring to better themselves, you will find that your views will go down compared to people who are just there to be consumers and to be entertained, or for some type of spectacle, or because they want to see something involving a person of status. So, that's just kind of a heads up on that. So, yeah. Now, let's go ahead and get into the review. So, we have our friend here, the Salon Guy. Now, here's something interesting. You have a promise in your banner, and your promise is new videos Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there you go. I don't think it's necessary anymore to put social media handles in the banner like this, to be honest. I think that it is just more of a distraction. I also don't necessarily think it's an absolute to have the subscribe button there. I think that from a design standpoint for your banner, you'd be better off just having the schedule right under your logo here. Um, you styling the hair here is fine. So other than that, I just think that if you did that, this could all just end up being cleaner. I love your logo, by the way. Now, since it's you in the videos, as we know, I think this could be a close-up profile pic instead, because there's not any added context to having the wider shot here. So I think it's just better to have a bigger headshot of you, nice smiling face. Because this added wide shot, we're not seeing nearly enough of your salon for it to matter. We're not seeing anything with your tools. What could be interesting could be if you did a pose kind of like this with your scissors and a comb and a big old smile. That could be interesting if you did something like that for a profile pic, because then that's a close-up shot that adds some context and the tools of your trade in there. So from a photography standpoint, I would certainly look at doing that. Terms of layout, it's fine that you lead with your popular videos if you wanted to. But I also think what you could do is you could, instead of just doing your popular videos to show people that, hey, you've done some like great work and you've gotten plenty of views, I think you could curate to a start here. And what I would do is, for a start here, I would lead with this 2 million view video from a year ago, and I would try to curate the start here playlist with videos from at least the last 2 years, just so that people don't get the impression that maybe your channel is outdated and you haven't been uploading as much anymore. So lead with your curating a playlist of your own most popular videos and label it start here. If you're new, start here. And then I would at least use maybe this video from 1 year ago to show that you had a popular video with 2 million views even up to a year ago. So I would do that. Let's go into the videos themselves. I actually really like this thumbnail. I really like this thumbnail. I think that this idea could be better if there was a number in front of it. I don't know if you planned this, but if you had a number in front of it and maybe you had multiple hair dummies, because I think someone would watch a video labeled 15 hair shapes explained, or a big video, every hair shape explained. I think people really would care about that sort of thing. So I think that you should look at that. These thumbnails are clean and I really like them. And I think that they're very strong. Um, I like that these are going to be more evergreen videos. These might get low views now, but if we look at some of your most popular videos of all time, you're going back to your roots. And so you have videos from 11 years ago, 4 years ago, 10 years ago, 8 years ago. You're going back to your roots of the type of content that popped off the channel. And I think that what I think, what if I recall from a lot of your story, a lot of these didn't necessarily go viral, but they did get views over a period of time. You had some viral videos that did involve other people. I do remember you also getting a shout out from Jared Polin back in the day, but most of your content that's high view content got those views over a long period of time. Just like my favorite how to tie a tie video that I watch 3 times every year, because I only have to tie a tie 3 times every year now that I don't work at a department store anymore. When I was a kid and I worked at a department store, I knew how to tie a tie 3 different ways without even thinking about it, because it was a habit I had to do multiple times a week. Now, unfortunately, I only ever have to tie a tie whenever I go to a funeral. So, unfortunately, that's the case. In which case, I wish I was only watching that video once a year. And so, I think that in the same vein, that these videos will get views long term. The middle part here, and I think that the hair parting videos are actually good. You've noticed that this is actually getting views again. Again, I know that because you're a bigger channel, you've been a big channel for so long, that you're used to just getting more views. You're used to seeing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views come in a couple of weeks or days. But I do think that becoming this resource. Now, also, you were a pioneer in the space. You made it popular to make this kind of content. Other people were not even trying to make this kind of content, but other people aped your brand. And at the time, there wasn't any kind of moat or any way to hedge against other people basically ripping you off and doing things in a way that where they could maybe appeal to a younger crowd, let's say, right? So I understand the history of your channel a bit in a way other people won't. What I will say that you're doing well is these thumbnails are clean, they're easy to understand. I think that you going back to tutorials and really helping people who either want to cut hair and style hair professionally, even though it's a smaller market, or people who want to DIY, do it at home, or people who are starting a salon or barbershop. I think that this could just get evergreen views because that's the nature of how-to content. And if you just keep stacking this evergreen content like you've been doing over a longer period of time, I think that the views will go up. But I also think you can get outlier videos that pop off, like the 2 million view video from a year ago, 2.2 million. I know that you wish that that was your normal, but that's not going to usually be the case with how-to content because you're not the only person in the space anymore or a novelty like you were at the beginning of your YouTube career and journey. But look at this, 4 months ago, 40K views on this pixie cut video. This pixie cut video could probably still keep getting views. And in a couple of years, this could be a 300 view video in a couple of years. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But you can see clearly that you're not the problem, Salon Guy. You're not doing something terribly wrong. The market isn't what it was when you blew up. And that's hard for so many YouTubers. There are so many YouTubers that are OG creators that can't get the views they used to. If you look back to people who popped off 8 and 10 years ago when you were in your prime and you were getting these views, PewDiePie is not getting the views he used to get. Markiplier, the biggest gamers, the big three from the old days. The old days big three was PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye. None of them are getting the views that they used to get. None of them are getting even, I don't believe in view to subscriber ratios, but I don't think any of them are even getting a 5% view to subscriber ratio anymore. Like, so why is that? The market is not what it used to be. So if you were an OG creator when there was less competition and when you had the ability to be a unique player or be first or early to the space, um, it's great while it does last. The good news for you and for your channel and your brand, one, the good news is you have a thriving, successful business outside of YouTube, number one. Number two, you still have the capacity that when you do these videos, they can always accumulate views over a long period of time because they will always be people who are seeking this out. That's even with my tutorials. And it's slow views, and that might not be emotionally satisfying. But the thing is, it does continue to grow a channel indefinitely, at least as far as ad revenue goes. So there's nothing wrong with that. This one, secret to fluffy hair, um 20K views. What I would start to think of is I would do some guides where you do some guides, for example, like 15 like for you have this 50 haircut mistakes. I would do like maybe even a potentially a 15 um haircut mistakes you must avoid. um I would do um the ultimate guide to parting hair. I would do um maybe a video on you have this 3 hairstyles for short hair. Do a 10 or 15 best hairstyles for short hair. Because like this one just says the best, it didn't have a number in it. Listicle videos do well and get clicks, and they also get more watch time on average. Doing a 10 or 15 um best hair 10 or 15 best hairstyles for short hair on men. 10 to 15 10 15 best hairstyles for short hair on women. those would do well. If you wanted to cover celebrities again, do a video where every hairstyle, like doing a big mega video where you're explaining every hairstyle from Halle Berry, 1990s through 2020s. Boom. Every hairstyle from, and then insert famous actress who's relevant at the time here. Same thing for certain actors, etc., etc. People would actually care about that and watch that, and like you breaking down all of those hairstyles. So I think something like that could have traction. But what I will say and what I do appreciate is one, you getting back to your roots is a good thing. Um, don't get discouraged. I would rework some of these titles. The titles, perm advice for your hair is too broad of a title, and going broad like this doesn't necessarily help the views. I get what the idea for going broad is when it comes to these things. Here's the problem with broad titles and broad ideas, you guys. You keep hearing go broad because there's more potential to appeal to people. I disagree. Don't go broad because of the idea that you'll appeal to more people. If you go broad and you're trying to please everyone, you'll please nobody. If you go broad, no one knows how to make you a priority. If you go broad, no one knows how to make your video a priority. So within the context of even some of the stuff you're doing, I'm gonna go, she's not exactly a direct competitor of yours, Salon Guy, and you guys will be different because she's a female content creator. But here's Glam Girl Gabby. So Glam Girl Gabby will be one of my examples of a YouTuber that's doing everything perfectly. We've done a podcast together. I've given her some coaching advice before. But Glam Girl Gabby. So if you study her content, you'll see what's working today. Now, she doesn't only do hair stuff, but a lot of her most popular stuff was because she had an issue with her own hair. And what she did, women with fine hair love this hairstyle. I can see why. I'm going to explain to you all why this did well based on things like my clicks method and my vibes framework. So, one, this is visually attractive at a glance in terms of vibes. Two, this is an interesting idea at a glance with her highlighting the hair on the left and then pointing to and creating contrast with the look on the right. That makes it automatically interesting and it communicates something at a visceral level. So it's visually attractive at a glance. It's interesting at a glance. The photography itself helps us with the bold, color, and there's no need for text here. Um, it has eye-catching elements with the circle and arrow as well as the photography. And then it has social proof in the fact that the social proof is a transformation. It's a before and after. So how does this also then use the clicks method? The language is concise. Almost nothing here uses more than two syllables. Women with thin, fine hair love this hairstyle. I can see why. I think everything here was like almost one syllable, if not two. So that's concise language. Then on top of that, how does it leverage psychology? It leverages psychology in a couple of ways because it's also identifying with the viewer that is leveraging psychology. So it leverages psychology by identifying with the viewer. How does it do that? Women, that's identity. With fine, thin, fine hair, that's an identity. That's very specific. So she's being specific. That's the S in clicks, by the way, is be specific. Okay. She's also being able to compel emotion. By saying women with fine hair love this hairstyle, she's already compelling emotion and telling you that if you identify with this and you're a woman with thin five hair, this is how you should feel about the thing that I'm getting ready to talk about. And I feel this way too. That's a way to compel emotion by mirroring the audience. Okay. So, keywords. The keyword here, there's two of them actually. Well, it's the key phrases are women, which we're also identifying with the viewer, and then thin, fine hair. Those are our key word triggers. Okay. And then the social proof is being able to identify there in the before and after transformation style of the thumbnail itself. And the social proof is, well, I'm a woman and I love this. I'm a woman with thin, fine hair, and I love this. So you should too. So it's doing all of those things. And that's why this has 4 million views. Now, again, there's not a scenario, Salon Guy, where you yourself can do this exact video. I'm not telling you to make this video. I'm telling you why this video works, and it's a video that has to do with hair, which is your expertise. So I know that you can, connect the dots on that and start to think and study, okay, why these things work. And there may be a way for you to apply this to yourself. Um, how to easily turn your greasy, fine hair into 7 gorgeous hairstyles. This is a title formula you can use, Salon Guy, of how to easily do blank. And the blank is, here is your hairstyle. How to easily turn your coarse hair into your coarse and tangled hair, or your coarse and curly hair into 5 beautiful hairstyles, 7 beautiful hairstyles. That is a formula that you could work and you could use and apply on your content, Salon Guy. So that title formula would work for you, and it's been qualified here. The nature of the thumbnail is a process. It is a transformation thumbnail. It goes beyond before and after to show the concept of 1, 2, 3, which is conveying and working back into the concept of easy, of that's easy. So consider how you might apply this 1, 2, done thumbnail style for your videos in the future. How to use a blow dryer brush for that perfect blowout. How to use blank is a really good format, but it's not just how to use blank, it's how to use blank to get blank result. So you could actually use that title formula as well, um, since you understand how to use a lot of these products and you have access to a lot of these products. So that's that's what I am looking at for you in terms of how these things can be practically applied. And you're also seeing some examples of thumbnails in the hair niche that work. And this can give you some ideas and inspiration. So those would be some of my thoughts for you, Salon Guy. And some of that could help you with tweaking some of these titles if it fits the delivery of the actual videos. But again, this is why I say I don't go for the advice of be broad, get the most people in. No, look at how well Glam Girl Gabby does by being specific and identifying with the viewer based on what type of hair they have and then their identity. In this case, women with this type of hair who want this type of result. That is hyper specific, yet it works. Being broad and vague doesn't work because no one can make you a priority. So hopefully there's some good takeaways for you from that and from everybody else in the audience. But what did you guys think of my deep dive into the Salon Guy and his channel? Longtime friend of the channel, done a couple of reviews here before. Being, seeing this guy in the space for a very long time, works extremely hard. But what did you guys think? Does what I said make sense in the contrast of what I showed what's working for Gabby versus was working for Salon Guy? And does it make sense when I give you the context of not being as broad, but instead finding a viewer that you can identify with in the title and thumbnail and having them make you a priority because they feel seen when they are watching your videos. That's something that I want you guys to consider, but let me know how you feel about that. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments. If you're watching live, let me know in the live chat. So yeah, we got some feedback from the Salon Guy on that. Dude, that was an amazing review. This was so valuable. I get very discouraged, but I still won't give up. Yeah, don't give up. And again, when it comes to trolls, just block them and ban them and everything. I wouldn't change my content based on trolls. I just block them and ban them and let them scream into the void. I also have a very ruthless philosophy of the fact that I believe everyone should monetize their haters. I think people, you should either ignore your haters, and that's probably the best thing for your mental health. Best thing for your mental health, and the best thing to do is to take the high road and just ignore your haters. And if possible, you can filter some constructive criticism and profit by learning from them and saying, I don't like the way you said it, but I'm going to figure out whether there's any grain of truth to what you're saying and if it can help me improve. That being said, the petty route, the petty route is to monetize your haters. The petty route is to extract all of the value that you possibly can from your haters and let them keep on giving you criticism, giving you feedback, giving you free advice, and giving you motivation and fuel for the dark side so that you can use your aggressive feelings, let the hate flow through you. So you could go that route and just use it, and you could just work your haters over, and you could just profit and monetize from them and antagonize them into giving you more feedback, helping you test things, helping you see what the worst case scenario is, things, giving you that aggressive negative feedback. No one will drill down into your content, find chinks in your armor, and expose your weaknesses like your haters will. And while their criticisms are in bad faith 99% of the time, they could also still provide valuable feedback for blind spots that you might be sensitive to, and you could work to desensitize yourself to criticism that's invalid. But you could also take the one nugget of truth and wisdom that they have and then use it and say, I'm going to use that, and I'm going to take that not to heart, but to my head, and I'm going to work through it, and I'm going to improve something, and I'm going to get better so that no one can ever have a legitimate claim to that specific argument or criticism of me ever again. And in that way, you could monetize your haters. I've watched people who, if they just left someone alone, that person would have languished in obscurity, just had a regular salary, retired on a pension, and would have never been seen or heard from again. And then because people refuse to have any kind of emotional control, I've watched people take someone they hate and make them a decamillionaire when all they had to do was, if that person would have never gone viral, that person would have never blew up, that person would have never gained an audience if they had just been left alone. So since people don't have emotional control, sometimes what people do is they make their hate they hate someone so much that they make other people curious about the person they hate, and they make that person rich and famous in a way they never could have earned on their own. So the lesson, boys and girls, is you have two choices. You can ignore your haters, or you can figure out how to get them to make you rich. Appreciate you, Chris. Longtime friend, Chris Strub out here, still in these social media streets, man. Hey, we just did social media marketing world. Kajabi helped me out with some stuff over there. Wish you were there, buddy. Would be great to catch up again. Yeah. Yeah. Some of y'all, Petty Roberto is your favorite Roberto. We got our good friend Fortune here. Roberto, awesome Creator Academy Pro Group member here. Would appreciate your feedback on my current direction. Of course, friend, of course. So let's see what you have going on here. Let's go ahead and just pop that up. All right. So we have our friend Fortune here, and this banner is awesome. I really do enjoy this banner. Um, Now, what I would suggest is, if possible, maybe, just maybe, have a slightly different or more energetic photo for the banner, because we have this great photo. This photo is perfect for the profile pic. But I think for Be Unafraid, you need something more energetic for the banner personally. So that's like the first critique here, but this is fantastic. You've got new episode every week, so that's good. Now, for your about section, um, I would skip the "Hey, I'm Fortune" part, and I would skip to this part because this is the value. Always lead with the value in the about section, everybody. Just skip the "Hi, how you doing?" I know it seems impolite. Skip straight to the value. This channel is for high performers who overthink every move and end up stuck in their heads instead of making progress. That is what we want and need to know. In the first line of your description, lead with what we want and need to know. If you want to say all this, put that second, lead with this. So for your description, for your about section, always lead with the value. Here I share simple mental frameworks to help you make smart decisions, trust your instincts, and follow through with confidence even when it's hard. Love this. You could lead with either of these, and this could be the second line. Um, so that's great. If you want to stop overthinking and start acting like the person you know you're capable of becoming, this channel is for you. See, all of this is great. I just wish we got to it sooner so that we understand while we're here. You can qualify your background and things about you after the fact. Just give us the value. We're here for this. This gets me excited. This is like, okay, I'm here for it. Give me this. So that's what we like. It's a great job there. Be Unafraid podcast with Fortune. Okay, so very good, clean thumbnails. Very strong here. Love the action-oriented poses. I love this one for overthinking. I love this one for huge risk. This is fantastic. So I do like this. Popular videos. This is good in terms of the I failed, the overthink. Okay. And it looks like a lot of the videos, because you have 141 videos, you're through your first 100 videos. Congrats on that. Now, I know a lot of people are hoping to reach 500 to 1,000 subscribers on their first 100 videos. But your first 100 videos, a lot of times you have to learn who you are and you have to learn what you are doing. So here's the thing. You have great thumbnails. And so you should be encouraged by that. And by the way, it looks like the majority of your videos were shorts. So we're not going to necessarily count those. And in this particular type of thing, shorts don't usually grow a channel the same way. They can on occasion get views, but they also may not necessarily ramp up subscribers. Like, yeah, see the big views for this channel, you're getting more views on the shorts than you have subscribers. They can help with reach, but you've seen that for this type of content, they don't necessarily translate to subscribers. Now, if you were saying subscribe for more at the end of every YouTube short, then that could be different. But shorts don't necessarily universally grow channels, and I'm glad we can all see that here. Because I'm willing to bet most of your subscribers came from these regular videos. And so, in that context of the fact that you actually are where you are, but there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 30 long form videos. You actually only have 30 long form videos and you have 250 subscribers. So guess what? You're actually doing great, in my opinion. You're actually doing really, really well. So that's what I would say here. Um, the other thing is that these titles probably could be a little bit better. In terms of titles for this space and even concepts, you need to look at my friend Clark. So Clark is somebody I've known for a long time. We've only met in person once over the years at a YouTuber event, but I've known Clark for years. He's an OG content creator in the self-help and personal development space. So clearly, you can see that he's had some success. I would look to a lot of the titles he has. If we look at even some of his most popular titles, for the type of content that you're looking at doing, I would study a lot of what Clark has here and his approach to it. And you could start to field ideas because your thumbnails are fine. Your thumbnails are on the level. But we know that the real answer is the topic and title make all the difference in the world. The topic and title make all the difference in the world. Because honestly, I think your thumbnails are just as good in many cases as anything that Clark is doing. But the difference in these views are the topic and titles in combination with the thumbnails. Therefore, I think that if you basically look at it from that perspective, you can do better. And just to show and to make a point here, by the way, it's like, um, aside from the fact that people are going back and watching his oldest videos, um, you know, Clark's oldest videos didn't always necessarily pop off. Again, some of them tie to videos he's doing now, but there'll be videos here that didn't get like the most views in the world. Like this one has 6,000 views, for example. And there were older videos that didn't perform that he's since deleted because I know that from knowing him. But like, there's um, not every video hits, and a lot of times older YouTubers will go back and delete their old content that didn't get views, and then you only get to see the things that performed or the things that they're emotionally attached to that they didn't want to delete. So a lot of them will delete like 80% of the content that didn't get views. And so you'll think that everybody is just successful because they just wanted to curate their portfolio, or they said stuff back in the day that would get them canceled now. So, I mean, that's just how it is with a lot of big YouTubers. So don't get discouraged when you study even big YouTubers and you go to their old content and it looks like they were always crushing it. Nah, they just deleted a bunch of videos. Um, it is what it is. Um, but yeah, I think you're doing fine, Fortune, for doing about 30 long form videos, 250 subscribers off of that, and you still are finding your footing. You're still finding your voice. But your production value, solid, man. Blurry background, look like a big YouTuber. You've got the Shure microphone. You've got everything set up right. The main thing is that some of these video ideas you're hitting the right trigger in the sense of the thoughtfulness of the content, but probably not the right emotional triggers in the titles. And it's not things that are title from a title standpoint for the person you're trying to reach. There are big conversations happening right now for these people that they care about. The thing I would tap into right now is the anxiety and fear of the future. Right now, there's a lot of people that have anxiety and fear of the future because of layoffs, because of financial uncertainty, everything going on with tariffs. Um, so right now, the big thing is financial anxiety, insecurity, toxic workplace is a big one. Tapping into the emotional spectrum is important, and tapping into the emotional spectrum of what is relevant right now. Right now. So that's something that I think you could look at because it's not just topic, title, and thumbnail, it's also timing. Timing matters. So being able to tap into that existing sense right now of a lack of stability, an abundance of chaos and confusion, finding ways to tap into those emotional triggers and for viewers to identify themselves in your videos will make them make these videos a priority when they see them in their feed. So I get where you're coming from, but this is like you have a really big opportunity right now if you can tap into those things. You don't have to become a commentary channel to do that, to tap into existing conversations. It's not quite the same thing you're doing, but I want to show you an example of this. Joshua Fluke. Now, Josh is not a client or a customer. We've had some friendly conversations over on X over the years. We're Twitter people, but look at some of the things that Josh is doing to tap into how people feel right now. Job hopping is dead. So like that's a conversation, and he's doing a critique on something with the Wall Street Journal and tapping into people's feelings about anxiety in the workplace and employer loyalty. Um, Task masking, the next dumb corporate buzzword. So he's tapping into people's feelings right now of resentment toward the workplace. Um, so I'm not telling you to make this content. I'm just using an example of tapping into emotion in real time around conversations people already are interested in having. So I think there are ways for you to apply that to your content because you're getting the foundational things right, but your audience and getting views for the type of content you want to do has a heavy lean in viewer psychology and in your topic and title priorities and getting people to identify with the problem and to acknowledge that problem existing within themselves. So that's something that you're up against. The good news is, if you can get that right, your thumbnails are good enough and strong enough to succeed. So those are my thoughts for our friend Fortune. What do you think of my channel review? Do you agree with the advice I gave? Did you learn something by seeing the examples I gave of Clark Clegley and Joshua Fluke? And then speaking to the psychology and emotional aspect of title and topic choices and why thumbnails alone and good branding cannot carry a video to victory. It is a combination. It is a one, two, three, four is a four-piece combo. It is a four-piece combo of tuning up the viewer with that topic, title, thumbnail, and relevant timing, and that you have to identify with the viewer and what they're feeling right now, and that anything they scroll past that they see themselves in. If they can see themselves and feel seen and heard in a video, it's a video they'll click on more than one where they don't. And that's something that I think is really important to acknowledge when it comes to how we think of our content and our strategy. We really need to put ourselves in the shoes of our viewers and try to empathize with them and see where they might be coming from. And then we can appeal to them in a stronger way. But those are my thoughts. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Would you do something differently? Let me know in the comments if you're watching the replay. Let me know in the chat if you're watching live. Yep. So what'd you guys think of that one? It looks like our friend Fortune here thought that that was a solid review. So I'm glad to have some good feedback there. We got our friend Jay Leaves in the house. What's up, man? Hope you're having a good night. Hope you've been having a good week, brother. Yes, if you've learned anything, please like the video. Appreciate y'all. Yes, for those asking, there's the reason I do not watch the videos here on the channel reviews, besides for time constraints and brevity, is for avoiding copyrights for any reason. It could be copyrighted by somebody using music I don't have a license to. The creator could be trolling me and decide to do it. I know and love most of y'all, and y'all wouldn't do that, but I can't take no chances with the channel. So no, I can't do that. Now, something I do offer is I offer private one-on-one channel reviews that you can pay for. I have a link to that in the description if you're interested. We also decided to do something differently that's even more affordable, not necessarily more affordable than these live streams, but we have private recorded channel reviews where we wouldn't be face to face, because I offer a face to face call if you're interested, and it'll be with me. It's not somebody on my team, it's with me. So that's on the table. We also have the Academy Pro group where we do group coaching sessions, and those are live office hours twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's on the table. But if you just want some feedback on your channel and you don't need to talk to me one-on-one personally, you just want to know what I think, we have a new offer where we actually are going to do a recorded channel review for you, where I sit down on one of my days off and I look at your channel for up to 15 minutes, kind of like what we do here, and I will give you my feedback on the channel and how it can be improved. I will record the video and I'll send it to you in an email, and you'll be able to download that for your personal use. It's not for me to upload or showcase anywhere. Now, granted, when you do these live channel reviews, because it's helping with the content and it's helping with my credibility and it's live, that's not private. So you're out there. We make those accessible. We make those affordable. We do them when we can on Friday nights. But some people, little shy, may not want those things out there. I offer private one-on-one coaching, and we'll do this with you. We'll even look at your analytics if you want. We can talk about all of that on the back end. We can watch your video, sit through it together, and critique the editing, the production, the sound, and give you all the advice on the world on tech that you want. With my setup, I absolutely can do it. Happy to do that. But it's something that I offer. It's something that we put out there. But on these streams, can't do it. Can't risk the copyright. So, it is what it is. But we do want to know that you do have options if that's something that you're really, really set on, is wanting feedback on your production, your performance, your editing style. We can do that privately, one-on-one, where it doesn't have to be public, put out there for everyone, and where you can get some deeper feedback and spend more time with me. Or again, just letting me take my own time to pick over it a little bit and tell you what I think. So that is out there, just so you know. Yes, absolutely, Terry. Ideas are king. They really are. So let's see. We've done fortune. Next up, we have travel and dine. $20 super chat. Travel and dine. Travel and dine is one word. Thank you. Okay. Thank you to our mods for keeping me organized, keeping these in order, keeping me accountable. And then after that, we have Aging Parent Care Simplified after that. And then we have our good friend, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. All right. Let's see here. All right, so our next channel review is Travel and Dine. Solid channel. The one thing I'll say about this banner is this has a dope concept for the banner. The one problem is in mobile devices, this is going to be cut off as far as the text. You need to shrink the text in considerably for it to show up as intended in mobile devices. So it cannot be full widescreen if it's going to work on all of the devices, particularly smartphones. So you will want to adjust for that. Um, Profile pic here is pretty solid. Um, Maybe sharpen it up a little bit in the eyes, um, because of how it's being compressed here in YouTube, but I digress. Not something you need to be super invested in, but that would just help improve it. Um, let's see. Welcome to Travel and Dine, your ultimate guide to exploring the world through food. So I would skip the welcome to Travel and Dine. They've already seen the YouTube channel name. I would say, this is your ultimate guide to exploring the world through food. And that would be the one-liner that doesn't get cut off here anywhere. And then that would just get it more concise. And so I would do that. Very strong featured video in terms of leading with the top 10 soul food restaurants in Atlanta. You did something similar for Savannah. This is a good format. This is a solid format. Definitely more views on this than you have subscribers. So these are your popular videos. You decide to have a South Florida playlist. Then you go into your recent videos. I actually wouldn't worry about going into the recent videos. Everyone knows they can click on the video tab for that. So let's see here. But I do like that you have these different state playlist. And then you have the hotels playlist. A lot of people not responding to the hotels. You have the New York City content. All right, we're gonna see very quickly what's going on with the channel. So based on what's popular and what's not been popular, I'm going to suggest that for this channel, the thumbnails need to be food-centric thumbnails instead of having, just, oh, pretty girls in the thumbnail. I think it needs to be the food. I think that people love the food. They're clicking on the food, and I think that the beautiful food B-roll is the key to all of this. So I know that people like to believe that pretty girl in thumbnail beats everything. Guess what? The channel numbers don't lie here. Showing us beautiful, mouth-watering food. This is making me hungry. I have no business eating after 10 o'clock at night, and this video is gonna do this content's gonna do me in. This content is gonna make me cheat my diet because I've been on my protein creatine fixation. That protein and that creatine. Um, but yeah, this is tempting me. I'm being seduced to the dark side here, and not by the beautiful women in the thumbnails, but with the gorgeous food in the thumbnails. And so I think it's all about the food. So I would just revert back to these thumbnails that have the food in them and also the location. I love the gorgeous bokeh in the photography. Very well done. Look at that seafood. That makes you really start having cravings right there. So I would do that. I would stick to the clean font you have here. This font looks super clean. This looks like that font could be something like Futura. It's probably Futura Bold. So I would go to the clean font for that. Futura Bold looks good. For your secondary font there, it looks like your secondary font might have been Bebas New, or it might be Futura Demi Bold or Semi Bold. So I would do something like that. That's fine for your secondary font. I would make the secondary text in the bottom left-hand corner, never the bottom right, because it runs into the timestamp of the thumbnail. So that's graphic design quirk there. Yeah, I would go back to food-centric thumbnails that have strong B-roll, and I would incorporate, if possible, ASMR crunch audio into the videos, because that could be compelling. Now, in terms of what's happening with this channel lately, I think that this channel is probably deviating from, because like this dating stuff, that's deviating from what people want. The hidden Dominican cities, like, and also this thumbnail style. When people see this, they think AI slop. When people see these thumbnails, they think AI slop. I don't think that churning and burning out AI slop is the answer. I think that this channel had a good thing going a year ago with gorgeous food videos, good solid B-roll, and using great photography in the thumbnails that made you hungry for more. And I think that the downfall of this channel is attempting low value videos, and even whether it is or it isn't, it feels and gives the vibe of AI slop, which is not what it did a year ago. A year ago, this felt like, video showing me how to do some good eating, making me want to travel, giving me a hunger for travel and food. And the channel has not been doing that lately. So I think that that's the issue. Because yeah, look at how it started versus how it is. Look at how it started. This this was great. This is the direction we should have stayed in. And for anyone asking, these are the useful fonts that you should be using for YouTube thumbnails. These are basically your safe fonts. It's very hard to make things look bad with these fonts. So this is your gift from a graphic designer. So yeah, this channel was great when it had mouth-watering thumbnails and mouth-watering B-roll as its lead in value and making you excited about where you could eat if you would just travel there. That was a very strong value proposition. Going to trying to farm, easy attention off of this style of thumbnail, it screams low effort and low value, and you don't want to do that. And I'm not trying to roast you. I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but I'm saying you had a good thing going, and I think you need to get back to your roots, and I think you need to get back to those mouth-watering thumbnails and mouth-watering B-roll and give the people what they want. And when you do something like this, even if you look, there's great B-roll in this here. You ruined this video could be a great video for all we know, but people are skipping over it because they take one glance at it and they think AI slop. So again, for everyone who thinks that YouTube is saturated and that, oh my God, AI is going to ruin YouTube, the truth is that people do not reward that content as often as they think. They will reward the kind of content this channel used to make. So this could be hard to hear. But again, I think I did give you some compliments on what has been done well in the past, and this is kind of a tough medicine for your own good critique here, because this channel was once great. It could be made great again, as they say, tongue in cheek there. But for this channel, literally, it needs to be revived and made great again by the way it was. It needs to go back to its roots, and it needs to go back to giving some real value. And the real value here was that just looks delicious. And that's what we need to be thinking. So you cannot just farm views by putting a pretty girl in a thumbnail. And I'm glad we did get to at least debunk that tonight. I'm glad that tonight we did get to debunk the constant narrative that um that pretty girl in thumbnail always wins. Beg to differ. People are more hungry for this food than they are thirsty for pretty girl in thumbnail. So that is my review of Travel and Dine. A harsher review than we would normally do on the channel, but it was necessary. And I feel like you got your money's worth in this case. I feel like this channel had and potentially has so much potential if it sticks to a great value proposition of mouth-watering food in the thumbnails, mouth-watering food in the B-roll, and giving it to you in a short and concise way that also shows you the best places to dine and travel and dine, um, and honors the value proposition of the channel name. Is that if I see this food, I'm sitting here thinking, oh wow, if I go, I live here in Georgia. If I go to Savannah, I want to go and I want to eat here. If I go to Atlanta, I can go downtown, and these are places where I could eat. So I feel that there's a strong value proposition that this channel had a year ago. I don't know if it's under new management. I don't know what happened, but you could see for yourself, and I'm glad we get to see this together, that you can't just do low value AI slop content and win. You can't just put pretty girl in thumbnail and win. That there is substance, value, and genuine desire for quality content that delivers on its promises. And when we do that, we can get more views than we get subscribers. And it's proven here, if those views are legitimate views, and looking at the thumbnails, I have every reason to believe that they were. And look, based on the thumbnails now not getting views, I have every reason to believe that that's true. So that's my critique. Do you agree? Do you disagree with my thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section if you're watching the replay. Let me know in the chat if you're watching live. Yeah, that one was a little rougher. It was a harsher review. But again, I had a lot of good things to say about the channel because sincerely, if the channel stuck to the way it was a year ago, I think it'd be very successful. I think that maybe there was some impatience. Maybe there's new management for the channel. Maybe they weren't getting the views right away that they would want. And it led to, you know, not getting, the traction fast enough. And so they said, well, let's pivot and let's see if we can pop off and get something to go viral, and maybe that'll. So like I think that that's what might have happened here. I have to guess that's what happened, but there's so much potential for a channel like that. My friend Max the Meat Guy, he went viral during the pandemic. Gorgeous food, gorgeous B-roll, great thumbnails, great personality. He's one of the biggest food channels on YouTube now. I in the early days I coached Flav City Bobby in the early days. Um, I coached the Vegan Baker in the early days. They're successful food channels. I'm friends with Benji Travis, Benjamin TV. Like we know that there's a desire in a market for great content like this. My friend Natasha Tosh Point Fro, her content and her mukbang content around eating. There's a desire for that content, and it can be packaged well. It can be done well. There's an opportunity there, and there still is an opportunity there. So that's what I believe. I mean, you know what else we know? We know that there's genuine desire for this sort of thing because look at Keith Lee. Keith Lee is killing it. Killing it. Um, so I don't think people need gimmicks. As much as everyone wants to feel like YouTube's too hard, YouTube saturated, I don't think you need gimmicks to win on YouTube. I think you need great content, but I think that great content has to be packaged well in terms of topic, title, thumbnail, and timing. I think production, personality, and performance on camera all matter and play a role in getting people to go from viewers to subscribers to super fans. That's been proven true for me and for many, many other people, many of you who've done channel reviews, many of you in the chat. Improving your production, people complimented on you and they watched longer. Improving your performance and your ability to be confident on camera, people loved that from you. And then when you let your guard down and you became more of your personality, people responded to it, resonated, wanted to hear more from you, wanted to know your genuine opinions. There are YouTubers now that I know personally with like millions of subscribers, and the biggest comments they get on their channel are, "Man, we don't hear any of your real opinions or personality anymore." And it's because they became self-conscious when they became big YouTubers and they were afraid to share their personality, give genuine opinions, and they just try to go along a little to get along. And I understand they watch so many people. There's a fear of getting canceled. There's a fear of your audience not liking what they see when you're authentic. I think it's easier to be authentic sometimes when you're small. It's scary to be authentic in general. It's scary to put yourself out there at all when you're a small creator. Most of you here in these reviews, a lot of this stuff, a lot of you are under 20,000 subscribers. That's why you're here. It can be very hard. But I think when you give your genuine opinions and show your personality, the key to it is to be able to understand having emotional intelligence and how to perform in a professional way, just polished enough. It is okay to be yourself, but I don't think you need to be yourself all at once in every single moment. I think there's a good 80-20 there that can happen. And I think that you need to consider, how am I going to be myself and give my authentic point of view, but in a way where people can understand where I'm coming from in good faith and they can disagree with it and respect it if they're a mature person. You don't need to pander or try to appease unreasonable people or people who act in good faith or people who are emotionally immature or emotionally compromised. So, but you need people who are mature and act in good faith to feel like you're mature and acting in good faith when you put something out there and when you have an opinion, especially a very strong or polarizing opinion. For example, I have a very strong and polarizing opinion that I believe that one of the best things that could happen in the creator economy, one of the best things that could happen for the economy at large, is for Amazon to acquire TikTok in these negotiations and in this deal that is being put out there by the president. I think that Amazon coming in and scooping up TikTok, it'd be the best thing that could happen for creators, the best thing that could happen for the platform, the best thing that could happen for Amazon. I feel like that is the best thing that could happen. And that's a really polarizing opinion because people have very strong opinions about TikTok. I certainly have several because I don't like the way that they handled creator monetization. When people go, Roberto, you're the ultimate TikTok hater, and what happened? Like, guys, I've been consistent. I've criticized Twitch, I've criticized Facebook, I've criticized TikTok, and what was my main line of criticism for every single one of their platforms? The way they handle creator monetization is trash. And I feel that out of all of them, that TikTok is the most exploitative in the way that it handles its creator monetization. And for me, YouTube is the gold standard of creator monetization. And I think TikTok could do better. And I don't think they genuinely have enough creator equity and stakes, and that the platform succeeds and succeeds and succeeds. But the average creator who is monetized in the TikTok creator program doesn't proportionately gain value. In fact, the more people that succeed on TikTok, the less the more money the platform makes and the less money shared among all the creators because of the way they handled the monetization. They don't, when YouTube makes $30 billion, we know that creators make 15, 16 billion. That's appropriate. That's not how TikTok works, right? So for me, that was always my issue. And I had the same criticism aggressively of Facebook and Meta, and the fact that I was like, well, you guys' partner requirements suck. And so they've since been changing that and doing it. I'm like, okay, cool, great. Oh, you have a brand deals marketplace right there in the app. Great, fantastic. I still feel that Facebook and Meta and Instagram suck at making the monetization requirements abundantly clear. But one of the things they're doing is, at least if you get monetized in one of them, you're monetized across the board. So that's nice. That's getting a little better. They're improving at least. And I've given TikTok some kudos on their improvements. But guess what? When they decided that they were going to do this long form thing and they're going to do the creativity program, what'd they do? They demonetized every video under 60 minutes, which was the majority of all creators' inventory. And they don't really give permanent passive income to their creators in terms of getting money off those views forever and ever and ever in the same way that YouTube does. So for me, my biggest issue with TikTok and people, besides the foreign intelligence implications and the privacy policy, which I do strongly care about, one of my biggest gripes was the same one I have with Twitch and the same one I have with Meta. I feel that they're exploitative of the creator monetization. I feel like the advertising requirements and revenue in the Twitch partner program when you make partner are trash. And I feel it's inexcusable. Um, I'm very critical about the business model of Twitch and how overly dependent it is on the concept of Prime subs. I'm highly critical of the way that they handled multi-million dollar streamer deals and that they don't do enough for the smaller content creator. I'm very hypercritical of that. And I always have been upfront about that. My big issue and stance with platforms is, well, how are you handling creator monetization? Well, the reason this is also considered a controversial stance is because, again, of how aggressively on X I am negative, specifically toward TikTok, and a lot of people don't like it. Oh, another one, TikTok Shop ruined the experience. The way it was too aggressively done, and the way it incentivizes creators, it turns the entire platform into a giant QVC, and a lot of viewers have complained about it. It dilutes the value, and that's why even among teenagers, TikTok is down to traffic numbers. It used to be beating Google. Now it's not even in the top 15 of most trafficked websites anymore, and it was beating Google in the pandemic. Now it's down to about roughly Snapchat levels of activity from teenagers, and the biggest complaint is TikTok Shop being aggressively promoted so much, and people selling Shein and Temu and fast fashion and disposable junk products and promoting it, that it's become overly promotional and it's lost the character of the platform. And then that's a problem. I have similar criticisms of Twitch. Twitch has become largely a Twitch to OnlyFans pipeline. And I don't get nearly as much smoke for that one because everyone just says, yeah, that's true. But people have a very emotional connection to TikTok. I supported to a large degree the conditions of the TikTok ban, and people didn't like that. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. There are alternatives for creators that are equal or better for them to make money now, and they're already porting their content there. And I don't feel like it'd be some great loss if it has to either be banned or changed. So that's where people felt it was controversial. But again, I presented my arguments when I was coming at people, and I didn't call them dumb. I didn't call them stupid. I didn't ad hominem and attack people who disagreed with me, even though a lot of them did that to me. I presented my arguments and laid out, here's why I believe these things. Here are all the things it could do better, should do better. Wouldn't you like it if TikTok did this? Wouldn't you prefer if TikTok did this? And the thing is, they were like, yeah, I'd love all those things. I'm like, great. So now you understand why I don't like the fact that it isn't the way that you would prefer it to be, the way it could be, the way I think it should be. And I will accept anything that pressures them to go in that direction. So it's that sort of thing. But remember, I frame my controversial takes in such a way to where even when people disagree with me very vehemently, if they're dealing in good faith, then they can see at least where I'm coming from. And they can say, if they're not taking things personally, they can say, okay, I don't agree, but I can see where you're coming from and why you feel that way. And at least you have a reason. So when I say be authentic, I'm telling you that you can be authentic, but and you can be your personality and you can put yourself out there and you shouldn't be scared to do that. But you should be thoughtful about doing it in a way where you can think, don't overthink it, but you got to go, you know what? If I say this, let me not react. When I say 80/20 on being authentic, what I mean is that 20 is usually don't instinctively react and don't emotionally overreact and don't take things personally. And don't say immediately what comes to your mind without at least thinking it through and reading the room. Basic social etiquette, basic emotional maturity, and emotional control. That is the only filter your authenticity needs. Nothing else. I don't even care personally. I know some people do. I don't even care if you're politically correct. But we'll get to that in a couple of by when we review a few of your channels, I think, based on what I'm seeing. So we have Aging Parent Care Simplified, $20 Canadian. Thank you so much. Channel is Aging Parent Care Simplified, brand new channel. Audience is people caring for aging parents. Yep, heading into that realm myself. Very very few first person point of view channels. Most are health professionals. Am I on the right track so far? So here's what I like about this going in here is I like that you have the opportunity to be disruptive. I like that you have the opportunity to be disruptive because you're doing POV videos in this space, which is not being done, and you're a brand new channel. Now, normally, we don't have a lot of channels that are absolutely brand new, and by that I mean like very few videos, very few subscribers come up. But I do think we do have an opportunity here, and I think this could be a great learning experience for all of us for a channel launch. So let's watch this new channel launch, and let's give it a good review. So here we have Aging Parent Care Simplified. So channels like this say what they are, and the promise is very clear. Aging Parent Care Simplified, helping you help your aging parents. Love the banner here. Love the simplified message. Now, this is an AI generated image here. Um, I like the texture across the top there. If you wanted to kind of merge these things or blend these things, this could look better. Maybe you could give your Chat GPT prompt, as I assume it's Chat GPT or Mid Journey for this, to where give it a prompt to extend the background here and give it the dimensions of YouTube and have it lengthen and extend the background to be a panoramic background. And then that would give you something that could go end to end here. And so that would help you generate the right image to fill out this banner. But I love the text here. I love the messaging. I think that's clean and concise. Very smart to go ahead and have your profile picture here in this way. People can identify with you. So that's going to work out great. If you're a caregiver for your aging parents, I'm here for you. Very good direct message, very personal. Um, that's what we'd be wanting. I love this message for this featured video. When you have a featured video, one that the audience can identify and relate to is a good idea. Caring for my aging parents made me a better person. That is immediately if someone recommends me this channel. Let's say I'm going through, let's say something's going on with one of my parents. I have to be a caregiver. I have to help out with them or even a grandparent. Then if someone refers this channel to me, knowing, hey, I know you're going through, I think you'd enjoy this and it would give you some perspective or you'd feel seen here. Seeing this as your featured video would give me a lot to think about and would make me feel some kind of way in a very positive sense. It would make me look at this from another point of view. So I'm actually very glad that this is your featured video and you put thought into that. The thumbnail here is also strong, um, and people should learn from that. Very compelling. Let's look at the overall videos here. There's this is a new channel launch. There's 7 videos here. Caregiver burnout. Great thumbnail for what it is. And again, this is simple, and you don't have to overdo and glamorize thumbnails when you're dealing with an over 40 audience, which if someone's dealing with aging parents, they're usually going to be in their, at a bare minimum, they're going to be in their 30s, if not 40s, if their parents are aging into these issues. Um, so I'm exhausted caring for my aging parents. I would put this in quotation marks. May not seem like a big deal, but then that makes it a message more about people saying, "Oh, that's like what people say," and then here's that thing instead of a declarative statement of your own. Um, so just from a title standpoint, in general, these thumbnails are good. I have no real criticism of these thumbnails. Thematically, these are strong, very appealing thumbnails. The thing that you're going to run into is this is a brand new channel. It's going to take YouTube some time to discover this. And remember, you're appealing to a smaller demographic of people on YouTube, people in their 40s, possibly even 50s. It's a smaller demographic on YouTube, but they do exist, so don't be discouraged there. Understand that 88% of videos never get 1,000 views on YouTube. So small views, especially starting out like this, is normal. I would say you're up to a very strong start. Good editing, good production from what we can see from the previews here. Very nice. Not a lot of criticism for you on this. Good use of B-roll and footage. You're doing everything right for the type of channel that you have and for how-to content. You just have to let this content be discovered and pick up over time, which could feel, um, like just be patient. As hard as it is to say be patient, because again, there's nothing here that you're doing wrong. This channel is a help channel. It's a support channel. This channel is the kind of channel that benefits from word of mouth and people sharing as well as search. It doesn't benefit as much from the YouTube algorithm because it's very hard for the YouTube algorithm to identify this viewer unless they're already watching content of a similar nature. The sensitivity of this content means that people are not watching it consistently back to back in their last 100 videos. So do understand that if your content is more obscure, esoteric, or circumstance driven, especially if it's a circumstance that might feel very unfortunate or is very sensitive to people in nature, that people aren't going to constantly watch things that even something like this that would be very supportive and nurturing to them, it still does put them in a place where they're thinking about a circumstance they'd rather not be in. So do understand from a audience and algorithm standpoint that that makes this more challenging. But this is the kind of video that if recommended in communities and if people are talking about it in spaces on Facebook and Reddit and in chat groups or even in person in support groups, that this kind of thing can become a resource and this kind of thing can pick up steam in those communities, and therefore that could platform it more. But you should keep pursuing this content and pursue it as a labor of love where you're building up a resource for people so that when they find it, that they get the value that they are needing and that they get to feel seen in their circumstances and they get information and resources that they desperately need. There's not something terrible or wrong that you're doing here at all. This is a hard thing to get views for because it's a hard thing to deal with and live through and be reminded that you're living through it when you go through it. So, saying that as somebody who only has one grandparent left in this world, I think that that would be the real challenge here is just that there are some topics that are weighty, and those topics, not it's not that the algorithm punishes it, it's that because the algorithm is based on viewer behavior and what we previously watched and how recently we previously watched something, people are emotionally avoidant of this type of content, even when it could help them. They still tend to avoid it. So I think what you're doing is great. And I think you're taking a great approach to it. I think that this gets high marks for me because I think the packaging is great. I think the production is great. So the thoughtfulness behind it is there. So what I'll say, the challenge here is a real life challenge that while this channel has a lot of value to society, you can only do so much about a topic where people are emotionally avoidant and where even when something would benefit them, it's hard to make a commitment and to take that first step because there's just so much emotional weight to it. But ultimately, well done and good for you. This is content the world needs. This is something society needs, and I'm glad you're doing it. And I wish you well with this, and I hope that you stick with it and I hope that you give it time. It may feel very slow if there's going to be growth here, but I do think that it's meaningful, and I'm glad you're taking it on. So, those are my thoughts about aging parent care simplify. Again, heavy topic, heavy subject matter that can be very difficult for people, even when it's helpful, to commit to clicking on that content just because it can be a trigger for them. Even when something's helpful, if it's that deep, could just be something you're not willing to confront yet. But those are my thoughts around this. I think that she's doing a great job with the launch of this channel. I think it's much needed. I hope it does well. I hope people are able to find it and find comfort in it. What do you all think in the chat if you're watching live? What do you think in the comments if you're watching the replay? Yep. So hopefully you found all of that helpful. Yeah, hopefully you found it encouraging. I think that this one is rough. I think it's rough just because I could see myself needing something like this, but if I'm not having a good day already, I could need it and yet not click on it. And that's the sad thing, because I just think that it does come down to whether you're conflict avoidant or emotionally avoidant or not, and what triggers you as to whether or not you click on this, even when you see the value in it, even when you see the value of it, even when you need it, you could need something and still be ducking it just because you don't want to go through the pain. Creighton TV says, "Hey Roberto, what's your opinion on the new YouTube update for Shorts views? Do you think that they may change that for long-term form videos too? Just curious." No, there's no reason to change it for long form. They have no desire to do that. They only changed the short form video views to be reflective of impressions because that's what TikTok and Meta are doing and have been doing. And at this point, they're just tired of everyone saying, "Oh, I get more views on you on TikTok," when TikTok's just counting views in a way that YouTube wouldn't consider legitimate. YouTube basically caved in and said, "You know what? We're just going to do what the industry standard is. That's fine." And for shorts, they could just throw their hands up and say, "We'll just count shorts views the way other people are counting shorts views." Because if you get more of them and you see that you're getting more of them, you'll just go ahead and say, because they cannot win a logical argument on an emotional level, right? No one really can. No one really can. I can't argue well enough to win an emotional argument on intellectual level. Like, so YouTube can't make the argument of, well, our views are more legitimate because we don't count a view unless it gets past a certain time threshold. That's an appeal that works to an advertiser that's advertising on videos. Therefore, what happens is if you're trying to make that appeal to someone posting shorts content, they don't care. They just want to see more views. That's why they're posting shorts in the first place. So, YouTube's logic makes sense to a long form video person. YouTube's logic makes sense to an advertiser. Advertisers are paying for views on individual videos. They're not paying views on individual shorts. They're just having ads play within the shorts feed every 10 videos. So the thing is, it doesn't matter that YouTube was trying to count a more legitimate view. Therefore, they might as well just do what TikTok is doing. I agree with them on this because since ads don't play on individual shorts videos, it doesn't matter counting a video more legitimately because a certain amount of the video was actually watched. They might as well just say, here's how many times it was seen, which is what TikTok has been doing all along. And this kind of proves that that's what TikTok has been doing all along. And then, okay, you just got more shorts views. There's no reason to do it on long form, and they'd get pushback from advertisers. So there will not be a change to long form. There has not been a change to long form for the most part, and there doesn't need to be. Long form is fine where it is. Everyone's making good money, so nothing's going to change there. This is one of those last appeasements to shorts people and parody with TikTok. And we're probably in the last, I want to say we're in the last 12 to 18 months of needing massive shorts product updates because we just got a new shorts product update where they're going to be doing all kinds of cool stuff. I think we're in the last development cycle for YouTube Shorts to have its parity with TikTok and be done with it. And then we can move on to making live streaming better. And I think with YouTube seeing the shift of viewership on television increasing and increasing for long form, that they're going to do more to live streaming because of live TV broadcasting rights, potentially the shift of television dollars to digital dollars. So I think that we're going to see there's no more product development that needs to be done on long form. Short form's product development cycle is almost done. And now I think we're going to loop back to live streaming and podcasting development. YouTube was focused on live streaming and podcasting development before the pandemic. The pandemic forced them to do short form and develop that and build that product from scratch and to do it aggressively. So I think that the new editing tools and everything else to shorts, another 18-month development cycle. Then I think everything else is development on long form and live streaming. That's my belief. And podcasting. So that's my belief. All right. Going to mediocre tutorials and reviews. All right. Excellent. Fellow Atlanta creator, MTR. All right. So we got mediocre tutorials and reviews, a channel on the way to 1 million subscribers. Congrats to you, man. Now, what I would say here is I don't think you need the social media banner information in your headline banner here at all. I really don't. I think that the stronger play here is because you do daily video content, and since you do daily video content, you should lead with the value proposition in big bold letters right here of that daily video content because that's more meaningful to the viewer than this. And you don't need to drive them off of YouTube or remind them that you're somewhere other than YouTube. There are better ways. There are better ways to promote your other socials and get those numbers up. There are better ways to do that. Here is your best opportunity to keep them on YouTube, keep them coming back, and give them a value proposition to subscribe instead of this notification bell and subscribe thing. So with regard to the banner, I would go in that direction because you lead with value if you do that. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I like the cool factor of this profile pic, but YouTube compresses the hell out of it so we don't even get the dynamic range or any of the real benefit the way we would on Instagram. So instead, I would use a profile pic that's closer to not this exact one, but closer to this because you have good headshots, good photography. I would use something that shows you and shows off your face, and in your case you could probably show off some of your physique as well because you have a strong physique, you're tall, you're masculine, you got everything else going for you. You might as well show it off in the profile pic so that when you're replying to comments, when you're commenting on other channels, that people see that. um you know so there's that. um Let's see. I restore power to men by teaching life lessons, one viral video at a time. Yeah. So as a reaction channel, that's a pretty strong enough lead in, and it at least does get covered in the about section at a glance there. So that works. You link here to your school community. Smart move on the business side there. Um, let's see. If you are getting money out of regular YouTube channel memberships, from a homepage standpoint, it could be worth it for you to have the join members thing at the top so that people see that members are highlighted. And it could make sense to have, if you do have members only videos, to have a playlist on the homepage where they can see that so they can be tempted into getting it. So there is that aspect. The live streams, I would create more variance in the live stream thumbnail template in terms of your reaction faces so that there never feels like there's duplicates. I think you need maybe to have, 10 or so different reaction faces, 10, 20 reaction faces you can cycle through so that it's a long time before anything ever is repetitive in a cycle of 4 or 5 so that people can see those be different. So, that's something I would look at doing. Let's see here. In terms of playlist, I think that if you're doing pop the balloon stuff, that people really like that. So I think putting a pop the balloon playlist on the channel could be good. I think you should curate instead of a popular videos playlist. I think you should put a best of MTR if you're new, best of MTR if you're new, and then curate a 12 video playlist that they could binge watch and enjoy um, for the best of MTR. And I would plaster that up on the homepage here. Um, the animations, maybe give them more time to cook before making a decision on that. But it seems like the animations are not something people are responding to. So, if you want to do a series and complete a mini series of these animations, and then maybe even combine them into a compilation and a playlist, have like a set number to complete the series of animations. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 6, maybe it's 8. And then what you could do is let that cook. Let's see if it gets evergreen views, and if it doesn't, you scrap the animations because it may not be worth the money. But I also understand the animations might be an attempt at making some evergreen content. So I get where you might be coming from with that. I worked with an animator, young Don, before he got to 1 million, helped him get to 1 million, and gave him some of his most viral ideas at the time. Um, and animation can be very, very evergreen if it pops off. And it does always have the ability to pop off long term. Same thing with a lot of your overall reaction content. One thing to look at is you do very well with reaction content and doing these multiple videos a day. I feel like you're finally starting at least with the text and the GTA style text, but GTA but with red as your theme color. You're starting to be able to get to a somewhat branded thing where people can recognize, oh, that's an MTR video, even without your face being in there. So it's good that you and your thumbnail designer are coming up with a branded style for your commentary videos. I think that that's smart. And I also think that it's smart for this audience, a male-centric audience, that you did find aspects and elements of the very popular GTA. Like it looks like here you found the font that they use for GTA, and you also used the styling of the GTA branding, but made it your own. That was actually very smart, very clever, and I think that you should stick with that to make your stuff recognizable. So that is something you could definitely look at here. What's been the most popular stuff you've ever done? Hmm. Things involving celebrities, but of course, those things tend to go hyper viral. It looks like celebrities, arrest, and um, it looks like celebrities and arrest tend to be the most viral thing. Um, it's 2025. You might be in luck there. Um, so there is that aspect of it. Um, Andrew Schultz is popping right now. I'm actually surprised that this doesn't have more views, but it could get some more later. The celebrity and athlete thing, this NFL star that so that's athlete. The Shaq thing, there's a lot of athlete stuff going on right now. There's a lot of drama with regard to athletes. From a timing standpoint, you might lean into more and more of those stories. I think for this channel, even though you're trying to do deeper topics on this channel, I think doing those for a secondary channel is going to play out stronger because I think that you are trying to insert a value driven message in individual videos where people are here for the mess, so to speak. So you're trying to conflate education into an entertainment based audience, and there it's such a big audience that there are probably like 100,000 people that could be 10 to 20k views because like you it's not that you get no views on the lessons. You're getting 10 and 20k views consistently when you try to post some knowledge to people. Here's the truth. Those videos would be best served on their own channel exclusively. And if you want to interject a positive message, you could do it while you're reacting in long form. Probably the best place to do it is on your live streams, if I'm being honest. If you want to interject a positive message, do it on the live streams with the most loyal viewers who show up for you, and then do it in individual videos that show up on a second channel. 90% of your audience of these 800,000 people that are probably, frankly, you got 800,000 subscribers, but you probably are getting 3 million or more unique viewers a month in analytics of unique viewers a month. Um, Probably getting 2 million to 3 million unique viewers a month, minimum a million unique viewers a month, but you have 800,000 subscribers across these videos. Here's the thing. 90% of them are here for the mess, and 90% of them are going to be the mediocre majority. The mediocre majority is here for the mess on mediocre tutorials. So I think there's another version of MTR, and I know you're starting a second channel. I saw that there. Like, there's another version of MTR that's not for the mediocre majority. It is something more akin to, hmm, it's more akin to mastery. And so I think there's another version of MTR to be had. It's not going to get a million subscribers, but it's going to have 100,000 subscribers that aren't the mediocre majority. It's going to be the top 10%. It's going to be the elites. And so I think that that is going to be an interesting evolution for you because I think you're going to have 1 million to 2 million subscribers on this channel in the next couple of years that are here for the mess. And they're going to be 100,000 good men who leave the mess behind. So that would be my thoughts when I look at what you've got going on, man, and what I see you're trying to do here. So those would be my thoughts. But what do you all think? I think it's really, really hard to conflate entertainment value with also trying to elevate people. It's been done. It's been done, but very rarely, and it's getting harder and harder every single day. And so I think that the answer is to just have another offering to onboard those serious people. And I think the ratio here is right. I think it's the top 10% of the audience. I think he can have 1 million people that are here for entertainment value and here for the mess. And I think he can have 100,000 people that want to move beyond that, who came for that, but they'll stay for something of deeper and more value when it's offered. And I think that just splitting that offering off is the correct choice. I think when I see that when you try to be serious and help these guys out, you get 10, 20, maybe 30,000 views. I think that you could just have direct support for that on a smaller channel and have it consistently and not have that bog down this channel or vice versa. So that would be what I would believe. And I think that that has, a lot of merit to it. I think it's also very difficult for large channels to just not post something to their largest channel. That's been true even for me. So it's just something to think about. I think there's a lot of lessons to learn here. All right. Next lesson for me is taking care of my throat. Yeah. What y'all think of that one? Do you agree with me on that? Again, I just think there's some particular challenges there. I think MTR is going to be massively successful. I think there's a gold play button right around the corner. Yeah, you think his Pop the Balloon is the funniest videos ever. So yeah, you watch his channel. All right, cool. So yeah, I think that even a playlist of the Pop the Balloon videos, I think eventually compilations of his reactions to the Pop the Balloon videos could be very good, and it's a good way to recycle and repurpose that content. NC says, for the aging parent channel, I would suggest adding in task driven topics like how to find a good nursing home and how to make a living will. Those are excellent suggestions. People search for that stuff all the time. I have a relative who had to do both of those things fairly recently. So, yeah, I could see that doing very well. I think that's a great suggestion. This is another great thing about coming to these live streams in the community is you don't just get feedback from me. You get great tips and feedback because we have a great community here that can help you. So I encourage you guys to do that. I also want to remind you guys that you can check out the free Creator Foundations course. It's a free pay what you want, pay what you can course. The mods will link to that over in the chat. So it's a about 4 or 5 hour course. It's $0, but it's pay what you want, pay what you can. If you want to make a $5 donation, you want to make a $10, $15 donation to the Creator Foundations course, you can pay what you want, pay what you can, and that does benefit me, helps the channel. It's a way beyond the super chats where I actually get to keep anything you donate instead of splitting it with the platform. There is that, but what you get is you get about 4 or 5 hours of content. We have a 90-minute monetization masterclass. I gave an in-person workshop in New York, and that event company no longer exists. So we give you that in the Creator Foundations course for free, and it's a 90-minute in-person workshop that I did. So we just posted a video of it, including the Q&A. We talked a lot about brand deals in there as well for people who would be interested in learning more about sponsorship and brand deals. And in the Creator Foundations course, we cover a lot of the things that you ask and that you really want to know. And we try to give you the answers as quickly or completely as possible there. We're also adding this series. We have 2 of the videos in the series out already. The rest have to be edited in the 10 Pillars of YouTube lecture series. When we're done, the Creator Foundations course will probably be a 6 to 8 hour course that we could have charged hundreds of dollars for. But we want the community to have some experience of what a course can be, what a course should be, and to also be on the same page and to genuinely learn. We also, because not everyone can afford, coaching with me and doing the Academy Pro group and 2 office hours a week, we made a Discord server. It's not Roberto Blake's fan club. We made a Creator Foundation Discord server where you guys can share thumbnails, screenshots, analytics with each other, the way that you guys communicate and share with each other here in the chat. You can take this same experience you have in the chat community and you can stay in touch with each other and get support, encouragement, and feedback if you join the Discord server and are part of Creator Foundations over there. So we have the Discord server, we have the free course, Again, if you want to donate to it, it's pay what you want, pay what you can, but that can be $0. It can be $0 if that's all you got. And so we give you a foundation that you can build off of as a content creator. And we really are proud of that. It started as a companion course to my book, but then we decided we wanted everybody to have that course. And so that's why we opened it up, because it used to be like a bonus for people who bought my book. And it was like, you know what? We want everybody to have this. So that's why we did it. And I think it's worked out well so far. And we've gotten great feedback on it. And so, yeah. So if you want to support, that's a way to do it. But it's also just another way for you guys to have value. It's another way for you guys to have community. Not everybody can afford the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group. Not everyone can do one-on-one coaching with me. So we wanted to create a level that at least creates a baseline for my community of where you can at least be on the same page, know some best practices, have some very important specific information, and you can start with a level and even playing field. That's the other reason why one of the things we're looking at adding is like we have things like the starter kit. We also have a $9 creator starter pack. But again, we're looking at a couple of free resources here or there and seeing what else we can do, especially for those of you who struggle with your banners. Like, just having a banner template, maybe something like that for free that you can get as long as you give me an email address. So, those are things that we look at because we try to help where we can. We try to give everybody that baseline foundation to build off of. If you build on a strong foundation, then everything else follows. And, that's what works for me. The foundation for me of a lot of things. For some people, they consider it knowledge. I consider it skills. And I also look at, well, tangible resources and experiences. I also think that support is important in building your foundation. That's why I was like, you know what? The knowledge that people get, that's one thing we can do for them for sure with a course is we can provide them knowledge. But then we looked at, well, support is important. It's not just about having strategy and skills. It's about support as well. So then that's why we revived the Discord server and we changed up everything we did over there with the Discord server. And I think that one of the next things we're looking at is the skill building aspect of things and looking at how we can address a lot more of your weaknesses in things like the design aspect. We've done the workshops to help with that. We've done the Photoshop and thumbnail workshops, hours and hours of free content here for you guys for that. But a lot of people, they just don't have the 20 hours to 40 hours to build that skill set. They need to. They really need to. But for a lot of you, there's just a technical barrier or a talent barrier there. So we sell templates for people who struggle with thumbnails and banners, but I think for a lot of you where you just don't have any money, we have to find some way of making that at least accessible for you to have something decent. Yes, it'll be generic. Yes, it'll be very much like everybody else's if you start using templates, but it would be better than what you have. So we're figuring that out. One thing we did is we do have the creator starter pack. We do have that out there. We do have for people who struggle with other things with productivity, titles, other things. We have the creator prompts for $9. We have the creator starter pack for $9. Those are some of the cheapest things we offer, but just trying to figure out how to get the people that are like under 20,000 subscribers and struggling, trying to figure out what more can be done there. And I think it requires more than information. I think it requires more than strategy. Strategy is important. I think the skill building is the hardest part, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think skill building is the hardest part for most people. But I think consistency and keeping up with this, there has to be more of a community and more of support, and that's got to be more of the people who are taking it seriously. And that's where I think I want our Discord server to be different. I want it to be people who are taking this seriously. I want it to be people who look at this as more than a hobby. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that kind of thing. And I just wanted to put that out there for y'all. So we got just my opinion reviews. I have plateaued. I need help, please. Yep, I see it. All right, let's to go. And thank you for waiting patiently. I know you've been waiting for a while for this one, so let's get into it. So we got just my opinion reviews. I love the logo here at the top, if I'm being honest. This is actually pretty dope. And then you do have the value proposition. I don't think you need the social media handles, but it's fine. But movie reviews, entertainment news, trailer reactions, TV recaps, martial arts, anime, live TV shows, interviews. I think you could shorten that up, and I think you can make it easier to read because I don't know that we need to know every single um thing. Um, let's see. You say Brandon Keith Avery is a Black American film movie critic residing in Dallas, Texas. He's the author and creator of Just My Opinion Reviews. He is a proud member of the African American Film Critics Association, North Carolina. Okay, I think that you can have all of this. I think you need a stronger one-line sentence that communicates the value to the viewer at a glance because this is a lot. I also think this can be broken up a little bit, but that's a lot, and it doesn't lead with the main value proposition of the channel itself. The other thing is, I think your face should just be right here in the profile pic because JM and a film reel, especially if it's pixelated like this, where it wasn't cut out to the best of the ability and where the gradient banding isn't great, this banner is 1,000 times better than his profile pic, and I think the profile pic would just be better with a dope picture of you, and that just does it. And then that also answered the question of you being a Black American film critic. It's like it'll be pretty obvious right there in the profile pic. So that'll solve for quite a bit. Let's see. I think a big thing here is I do not think you need your logo branding. I think you should use visual branding through color and not rely or lean on your logo. And I think your logo is just taking up unnecessary space and attention and distracting from how good your thumbnails could be. And I think you're trying to force the branding into your thumbnails where you wouldn't need to because your branding for your thumbnails can be accomplished with color for the most part and the textile. Your textile and colors can do most of the work, and your thumbnails are actually pretty good overall. However, there are some issues. A primary example. Um, in this particular case, you don't need the thumbnail for this Superman sneak peek reaction. Um, and then the word reaction doesn't need to be nearly as big there because people get it, and it's running into the bottom right-hand corner where you have the timestamp, so that's obscuring it. And again, you would have had more room for this if you weren't using your logo and insisting on using your logo in the bottom left-hand corner there, because you could have been able to shrink up Superman reaction as text, have that flushed left, and then you would have gotten more of the image into the thumbnail, and you're getting good views on this, don't get me wrong, but a little bit of workshopping this to be more about what's valuable to the viewer and what the viewer will care about more and care about most was not necessarily you or the logo there. This could have had 5,000 to 10,000 views. This could have had 5,000 to 10,000 views in a day instead of 2,000 views in a day is not bad. 2,500 views in a day is not bad at all. This could have been, and maybe still could be, if but for the thumbnail, a 5,000 to 10,000 view video. I think for the Daredevil ones, one of the problems is you're too repetitive here. Um, and people could think they already saw the video and would just skip it. The Daredevil thumbnails here are too repetitive at a glance. I also think that you don't need to use the font of the show in order to accomplish what you're wanting to do. Primary example is I know you're familiar with and you've borrowed some inspiration from heavy spoilers. You may notice that heavy spoilers doesn't bother with using the font from the show or movie at all. You can just use your branding and your color schemes and move like heavy spoilers, and you could do so much better because there's not going to be at a glance, no one is going to know what the video is right off of jump beyond the thumbnail. And so the thumbnail sells it. It's all about packaging. A thumbnail is for a YouTube video what a hype trailer is for a film. And the thing is, you can accomplish it. I mean, look at this video. You can get views, man. You are capable of views. But again, I just think that there are some design choices that hold back the thumbnails. In terms of titles, titles are what they are in your niche and genre, so not going to sweat that too much. And again, you've gotten video views before. A lot of that is also timing. Timing is a big deal, but also your choice of what videos you chose. You may notice a pattern here. Here's what I'm going to say, and this may or may not be what you want to hear. I think that you need to, and I say this, and again, you may not like my opinion on this. I think you would thrive almost exclusively being a channel that's dedicated as a Black film critic to exclusively covering Black media in terms of films, television, and I think if you stick to Black films and television and you went in that direction, which I'm not trying to lock you in and pigeonhole you, but I think that there's a desire and a demand for that. BET was successful in its prime for a reason. I think there's a demand and a desire for Black people to be able to go to a channel where they know that their films and their movies are being covered and being given exclusive attention. And the most viewed videos on your channel are when you cover Black shows and Black cinema and Black media. It's not even close. It's not even close. You disproportionately get views when you do that. And here's the other thing. Your branding was better before. You were doing a really good job and you were making things that even to some degree felt themselves like movie posters. I think that if you do it when you do mainstream things where there's a Black co-star, if not the lead, a good example of that is the Batman. There was a Black co-star for that in terms of um Zoe Kravitz. So it makes sense, right? Now again, I'm not trying to pigeonhole you. I don't think that it's also a negative at all to do that. Audiences like a focus, they like a theme, they like expectations being set, and I think you could get, traction. I think there's almost no one else probably who could do it and do it well. And when you find something where you're the only one who can do something and you're the only one who can do it well, you become a category of one. And that can make you a destination channel when you have an opportunity to become a category of one. And I think that happens here. But I do think that the thumbnails and visuals need to be stronger because I think there are opportunities where you can get 2x, 5x, and 10x views purely on your thumbnails when combined with great timing on your part. There's actually some films here that I haven't seen that make me want to watch them now. Oh, I also like when you do something like, oh, the real reason behind this or that. That could be also very good. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of potential here, man. I think you can be a silver play button creator if you just make a few of the right moves. I think you can get that 100 subscriber, sorry, 100,000 subscriber silver play button with just the right moves. From a production standpoint, um, I would throw like your background is great, by the way. Your background is great. You might just want to figure out adjusting your lighting and possibly you probably have a better camera now. Um, but you might want to consider adjusting some of those things just to improve the production value. Like primary example, my second camera here, this second camera is just a Sony ZV-10, but the lens on it is like really good. You're a film major, you understand these things. So I would just get possibly a little bit of a camera upgrade, mostly focus on lighting and lens though, because you clearly got a great microphone. So lighting and lens makes all the difference. And I would just consider how that can add a little bit. You have great set design and great set dressing, but I think the lighting and I think the lens could be a little better, and then that would just tweak up the production. Because I think when you're like talking about movies and films, and then people also can see almost cinematic like quality to your reviews, that can add just a little extra something. So that's what I would look at there. But anyway, other than that, again, I think the channel itself overall is excellent. I think that it has a strong theme. I think that there's an opportunity here. Um, and again, I don't have any personal issue with the fact that of you covering mainstream um films and movies. I just think that there's a stronger play here if your channel can be a destination channel because it'll be the only place that specifically covers black cinema and media from a black film reviewer. Um, and I think that you will see more consistency and a diehard audience of super fans that will show up for everything you do if that's what they know what to expect. And so, yeah, this is why sometimes I say that broad and trying to appeal to everyone isn't the answer. Sometimes you could have a market dominance if you narrow down and you lock in with a community. But what do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Also, what do you guys think about my advice with regard to the thumbnail design and branding? I would argue that you can brand without a logo by just going and focusing on color schemes and thematic elements and other stylistic choices that could enhance a thumbnail and make it feel even like a movie poster, but develop a movie poster style of doing thumbnails instead of relying on a logo for branding and to be recognizable. That color scheme, texture, placement, and effects can create a style much more prominently that doesn't hold you back artistically and can pop out at a glance more. So let me know what you guys think. Agree, disagree. Let me know in the comments if you're watching the replay. Let me know in the chat if you're watching live. So there you go, my friend. And thank you for waiting so patiently. Yeah, people are losing trust in logos. People are using trust in logos. So I would, find other ways to build brand at a glance. And so then I think style and creating stylescapes. See, this is the graphic designer in me coming out. This is the marketer in me coming out. Creating stylescapes, I think, is the answer. You know, um, because I don't think it's enough to have a logo, and I don't think logos are becoming particularly meaningful to people anymore. In fact, they're just almost a rejection of them to some degree, unless they just look really dope. I think mascots are beating logos, like at this point. Cause see, mascots, especially if they're cute mascots, cute mascots win. Logos, no, but cute mascots, those win. Logos are winning for beloved brands, though, that haven't lost their touch and their connection. So, yeah. We got Tom Nash in the house, giving a shout out to Doug Hewson. It's like, Doug, are there any streams where you are not a moderator? Yeah, yeah. All right. So we've got two more, I think. So we're at last call, last call. All right, let's do it. So we have his and hers Holy Hour podcast. So I actually like the banner for this because that's actually pretty dope. That's pretty clever. Live morning prayer, more than just a podcast. It's a holy hour. So really good branding, very sharp here, very clean. So I think this works. I'd like to see this orange motif make its way into the profile pic, honestly, if you're going to reinforce the branding. So that could be a little different. But other than that, I like that both of you are here in terms of your picture. But maybe if the background was this orange, it would work because then it would be consistent in terms of branding. Just a thought. 2,000 subscribers, 200 videos. Not bad. Not bad. So for the title of this one, instead of why you'll never overcome your trauma until you see this, I would shorten that up and take out the why. It's like, and just um, say you'll never overcome your trauma unless you see this. So that would probably be stronger for the title for the featured video there. I don't know that I would lead with the TikTok link here. If this is a podcast, I'd probably lead with the link for the audio podcast for listenership. Or even if you're doing the podcast, upload the videos and it'll pull the audio to Spotify for Spotify for creators, and it'll distribute you as both video and audio. And you could get yourself into the Spotify for Creators partner program, and they pay out like YouTube does. Their partner program is very similar to YouTube. So I would probably do that, and then I'd post that instead of the TikTok side. That's just me. Um, I don't think I would put the shorts as the playlist that I would lead with here. I would probably lead with your most popular videos, and then I would do series playlist based on the fact you guys are covering some series. These thumbnails are strong and emotionally compelling, at least as far as these what happened to you. Um, I get what you're going for and that they're dark. But you could probably stand to brighten them up a little bit just so that we can see details because it's a little too dark there. Let's see. If you're going to have these long form videos, do not have for the morning prayer stuff. One, no repetitive thumbnails. Two, these need to have long, widescreen thumbnails. These are not clickable, even though you're meaning for people to listen to them. They still need to be clickable and they need to be unique so that people don't skip over them. So correct that. Um, and make those unique and individual. If you haven't already, make sure that those are in a playlist and then even maybe a podcast playlist of their own. These thumbnails weren't enough to carry um these titles, and there's a lesson in that. Also, too much effects on you guys' face doesn't necessarily make the thumbnails better. So maybe tone that down a little bit because that could also turn people off. Um, talk to your thumbnail artist about that. Over processed thumbnails that are unnatural or anything that doesn't reflect your natural skin tones will be a turn off to people. Over cluttered thumbnails are meant to be scanned and read at a glance. So in terms of text, the text on these two here are like good because you can scan them at a glance, right? Um, but this title not necessarily that strong. A channel you could learn from and you're probably familiar with is someone I've had the pleasure of talking to a little bit. You know it, the one and only Myron Golden. So your thumbnails don't have to be even that crazy over the top. Look at how simple Myron's thumbnails are, and yet they work, right? But from a topic standpoint, in terms of what people prioritize and what matters more and what matters most, there's some good things here. Now, again, Myron focuses on business. You guys are focused on relationship. But guess what? That makes sense though, because you can do that and do that with still doing a faith-driven podcast and a faith-driven show and faith-driven reactions. You just have to figure out how people are doing it in a proper context. Um, you know, Ruslan does this with reaction and commentary in both relationships and politics. Myron does it with money. Watch this. What do most people care about? They care about money. They care about time, so productivity videos. They care about relationships. So that's where, stuff like your pop the balloon is popping off, pun intended. They care about health. They care about what they perceive to be the pursuit of happiness, which is largely intrinsic of all of those things, is to have happiness, you have to have agency, productivity, control over your time. So that's the time productivity thing. Then there is the wealth building, which is the material aspect of things. There's the relationships, which could be everything from romantic relationships to relationships with your family, your children, your parents, etc. Networking, all of it, friendships, loneliness. There's a lot to cover in the relationships thing. And then there's health, mental health, fitness, um emotional well-being, all of the which is the personal development niche. So when you think about that, it means that there's an angle that you can approach here if you guys want to focus on a couple of themes, because the problem is I think you need to have a strategy that's more thematic. So look at how your most popular content, look at the themes of your most popular content. Marriage and Pop the Balloon is what's doing it. Not as much the trauma and the darker things. And you can still have the morning prayer podcast part. You just need to brand those thumbnails for that. But the relationship stuff, I think you need to lean into the modern relationship things, divorce rates. You need to react to videos about that are happening, about viral videos in the modern, dating space. You have a live tab where you've been updating the thumbnails. Oh, fantastic. This is the direction for those thumbnails, especially for the prayer. So this part is perfect. This part is perfect. And this is good evergreen content. So congratulations on that. And I'm going to give you a tip for this. For these, and again, I don't know how you'll feel about this, but for these, I hope that you are manually placing ads in these because that's where the money would be for this channel being monetized is ad placement being appropriate in these. And I would still go back and finish redoing the thumbnails on these, but the same thing for the ones that are not live. But good job. This is perfect. This is good. They go in this direction for these thumbnails. For these thumbnails, for the morning prayer show and whatnot, this is the direction you want to go in. Now, for your actual videos here, I would say to some degree, there are some lessons you can learn even from MTR, who was on earlier tonight in the reviews. And I would say that your most popular videos here are going to be the relationship stuff, but you doing this and reacting as a couple and bringing the Christian perspective into it makes sense. And so the thing is, um, I would do commentary on these things. And I know your thing said stop watching this show, but I think that maybe if you guys did reactions and you were critical of the show, that could be a theme and you could make that a limited run series. You could make that a limited run series. And then the you should in general tackle viral videos online that have to do with relationships, dating, divorce, children. Right now there's a big to do. There's some NBA player. There's some NBA player right now that is having a child, I think, with an older woman. I don't know all these because I don't pay attention to drama, but I think there's some big famous NBA player, and there's some issue about the child support and about him not originally wanting the child, and he's just gonna pay it all up front, right? I think it's like $2 million up front, and just pay the 18 years up front, right? So that would be something that you could cover, and I think that you guys could probably do 3 videos about that, tackling different angles and tackling what you feel the Christian perspective is on this and what people can learn from it and what it says about modern society. And I think that you should lean into those topics and those larger conversations that the community is already having, and then say, well, here's where we're going to interject for those of you who want a faith-based perspective on the mess. So that's how I would probably approach things going. But I think you guys are starting to get a sense of the understanding and importance of the visual branding aspect. I think there's a lot here that is really good. And I think that the evergreen content, and I think going ahead, I think you guys could probably get away with blending these things very well. And I think that there's an opportunity here. So I think you're off to a very good start. What do I have to say about your short form? Short forms get performing decently. Hmm. Short form is performing decently. You know what could be good for the short form? The short form, if the short form could take on a motivational theme, I think that that could balance a lot of things out. And that could offer some more well-rounded, holistic value to the channel. So overall, those would be my thoughts. But what do you guys think? Do you agree or disagree with me? I thought there was some really strong elements here. I like the branding for the live streams for the um the morning worship show. I think that that was good for that aspect of it. I think there is an opportunity with leaning into the relationships aspect since it's one of these main primal triggers or desires that most people have, and that there's an opportunity to break into that from a faith-based perspective. If people are going to watch this stuff and talk about this stuff, there is a way to bring the conversation back to that faith-based lens, and I think there's a market for it. So that would be what my thoughts are around his and hers Holy Hour Podcast. Good name, good brand there. I think there's an opportunity. I also think the expansion into the Spotify for Creators program from a monetization standpoint would be excellent to just repurpose the content you already have and to monetize it. You know, I'm all about that. So, what do you all think? Do you agree? Disagree? Did you guys learn anything? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the live chat if you're still watching live. Boom. Yeah, this is live right now. You're very welcome. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the review. Hope you got something out of it. Oh yeah, you heard about that story? Yeah, I don't know that much about it. I just know the sound bites, I guess. Yeah, I do. I love that it is wholesome. Yep, absolutely. Next up, we got Happiness Hacks. Love that name. That's a good brand. Happiness Hacks. That's a good brand. So Happiness Hack says, I do a 4-week workshop to help young adults avoid a life of regret by finding their best career by using the natural personality type as a guide. Oh, good for you. That's very needed. I want to use this new channel to attract parents and teens. Hmm, interesting. We're going to look at the channel, but I have some advice. This one's going to be a little rough, though. You got to go into Reddit, and there's a subreddit called Find a Path. You need to go in there. It is gonna break your heart though. Um, if you go into the subreddit, find a path. It's gonna absolutely break your heart, but it is exactly the type of people you're trying to reach, and it's also the kind of regrets you're trying to help people not have. And, you know, if you look there, you're gonna find exactly the people that need your help, and you're going to find out what they're responding to and what matters more and what matters most to them, and how to frame it around how to frame it around what they will pay attention to and what they will give attention to. So I think that you could do a lot of research around this particular topic. And I think that if you go there, you're gonna see how much there is a qualified need for exactly what you're doing, because there is. There's like a big need for what you're doing out there in the world, and you're gonna see, though, how to frame it in a way that would elicit a response, because again, it's leaning into a conversation people are already having. So I think that that's really important. But let's go ahead and let's jump into this. So happiness hacks with Devin Trent. Excellent banner. Great branding there. Beautiful profile pic. Now, I wouldn't lead at the top with your personal channel here, even though good for you, by the way, in your personal channel, the delivery guy, getting 22K subs there. Excellent work. But I would move that down to the bottom, and then I would lead with the value for the viewer, and that would be around your videos. Now, in terms of packaging and branding, you're going to want to look at Mr. Dan Martell. So Mr. Dan Martell, once upon a time, I think I did a coaching call with Dan back in the olden days, but he was just trying to, he called me to learn the tech side of how to even use a camera, I think, back then. But this is Dan Martell 10 years ago. And this is where you are now in terms of branding and thumbnails. Here is the most popular stuff from Mr. Dan Martell now and the style of thumbnails he's doing. I think this speaks volumes in terms of what will work and what packaging is necessary to perform, um, especially in a personal development style niche or career development style niche. with a positive slant. So that's why we're not going to use Josh Fluke as the example here. We love Josh, but positive slant, we can't accuse him of that. And again, we love Josh. But yeah, so I think you need to take a page out of Mr. Dan Martell when it comes to the thumbnail design. You have great branding in your banner and your profile pic. That does not reflect in the thumbnails itself because you're just using essentially a frame of the video. And here's the thing, the thumbnails cheat me out of the quality. Look at the quality of the video here. This is excellent production value. The production value of your video is actually on par with the production value of my own video. It's the same production quality. You have the same production quality as 100,000 to a 500,000 subscriber YouTube channel in terms of the camera lens and the set design. The thumbnail cheats us and convinces us otherwise. The thumbnail quality is belying the quality of the actual video. And that's crazy. So you need to, again, get to the point where the quality of the thumbnail is right here with something like Mr. Dan Martell, because the truth is, Dan Martell's production value for his most viewed videos isn't really that far off, at least as far as the main camera angle, from your own. In terms of the main camera angle, your videos aren't that distinctly different. Then he does all kinds of fancy editing and multicam, sure. But as far as the straight on video, there's not that big of a leap between your content and his content. Remember, he's a 1 million subscribe plus channel. So if that's the case, your packaging just needs to be better. I also think that your titles should be unapologetically stronger and much, much more aggressive. So here's what I would do. I would make these titles more aggressive. Public schools are preparing you for a world that no longer exists. That's not bad. But here's something stronger. Here's something better. Public schools are setting your children up for failure. How to make sure they succeed. It's a two-part title. Public schools are setting your children, your public schools are setting your child up for failure. How to make sure they succeed. That's a stronger, more visceral title that speaks to the value and speaks to, it's what I call ambition versus anxiety framing. Anxiety. Public schools are setting your child, so there's the identity, up for failure. That's the anxiety. Oh no, I don't want that. That's terrible. How to guarantee they succeed. Well, that's a promise. You said guarantee. That's ambition. I want that. So that's powerful and more compelling. Compels emotion, speaks to identity. I would say how to guarantee they succeed. For the thumbnails text, um, I would go visceral for the thumbnail text. The thumbnail, instead of trying to use I know what you're trying to do with a thumbnail and title combo. I would say for the thumbnails text though, I would go with a statistic that's jarring. I'd go with a jarring statistic. So I'd go with something like, 47% can't read as a thumbnail text. 47% can't read is a jarring statistic that shocks people out of complacency and forces them to watch the video at that point. So that's what I'd put in the thumbnail. And I'm making up that stat, or maybe I'm not. But like 47% can't read. That's easy to understand at a glance. It doesn't say too many words, and it's just visceral. It's just too emotionally jarring to ignore. And you can understand the problem at a glance. This three huge mistakes adults are making and how to fix them before it's too late. Um, Three mistakes ruining young adults' lives. How to avoid regret. Isn't that stronger? Three biggest mistakes ruining young adults' lives. How to avoid regret. That's stronger. That's more visceral. And then for the thumbnail text, I would go and lead with things that people would identify with feeling. And so I would go with in the thumbnail text, I'd have these things laid out. I'd be like loneliness, poverty, anxiety, and just be like, oh, because those are things people don't want. So they know you're going to help me not experience those things anymore, get out of it, or avoid it altogether. Right, right. So I would that's in my thumbnail. So like that's what I'd have there. And then for this four worst kinds of advice to take, um, no, I'd probably go with I probably for four worst kinds of advice to take, I would say probably it's like, hmm, because let's see, I'd probably go with this toxic advice is ruining your life and setting you up to fail. See, a lot of you need to think a lot more about the concept of emotional triggers in your title and thumbnail combinations. And a big part of that is learning and understanding the audience avatar and how the audience identifies and sees themselves and what lens they perceive themselves through. And then when I say find the audience avatar, I'm talking about also understanding them psychologically and demographically, not just, oh, women in their 40s who want this and everything. Understand these people's challenges, understand their biases, understand their preferences, know things about what their lifestyle is as a collective group, or at least most likely as far as 80% of them. And then from there, understand what matters more and what matters most to them. Understand what ambition they want to achieve and what anxiety they're trying to avoid. So like those things can compel emotion, and those things can also make something a priority for them that they will want to click on and that they will want to watch because it addresses something instinctive and primal that they value. And so they can filter everything else out as noise because this is signaling that this is for me. Um, so let's see. So happiness hacks is asking me in the chat. Do you think this alternative education could be good for the homeschool community? Honestly, I think it could be good for anybody. I think it could be good for anybody. I think there's a specific direction that if you want to reverse engineer homeschool resources, you would need to do a lot of studying and case studies and surveying and finding out what the gaps in resources and the biggest needs they have are, and what is something that they are specifically anxious about, and what causes a tangible level of failure or lack of success. A primary example would be there's a difference between the goal that you have here. I think is very different than if you just wanted to build homeschool resources, right? If you wanted to build homeschool resources, you would be reverse engineering things like um how to homeschool your children while you work a 9 to 5 job. um you know, is homeschooling only for the privileged? You would be doing those things, and those would be very specific and different, but I think that that's different from what you're doing here. And I think what you're doing here should be different and should tackle more like the problems that I talked about that exist in like the Find Your Path Reddit community, and things like it, because I'll give you an example. I'm going to read you some headlines from r slash find a path. So in r slash find a path, which has a community of over 700,000 people, listen to this. I'm going to read you some headlines. 23-year-old male, my life achievements and failures like so far. Like that's someone, okay. Listen to this one. That one's not that bad. But listen to this one. Going insane from this job hunt. I graduated in college in 2022 with a business degree, and since then I've struggled to do anything with my degree. I've been stuck in a dead end minimum wage jobs, and it honestly looks like I can't do anything better in my life. See, that's someone that needs you to save them. That's like, somebody save me. Like, so yeah, that's the Smallville theme if you guys didn't know. So like that's something. Listen to this one. Is it worth it if I'm below average? I'm far below average in everything. I'm not smart, school smart, or street smart. I'm ugly. I'm fat. I have no passion, no talents, or no interest. I've just been feeling so lost recently. I got out of a bad depressive slump around November, etc., etc. So you see, that's someone that needs guidance, direction, and help. That's someone you could make videos for. Um, Again, I think there's a mission here that's not the homeschooling thing. If you want to make a homeschooling channel, I think it's a radically different direction. I think that what you're currently doing is more aligned to this. Listen to this. 26 years old and about to finish my master's and absolutely burnt out on my field with seemingly no transferable skills. I'll be getting a master's degree in conservation biology in about 1 month. Hope to work with state government in a niche biological field. Spent 2021 now with that dream and invested objectively too much of myself on that goal. And now I'm burnt out. So, like, oh, someone literally got their master's, hates the career that they just spent more than 6 years of their life pursuing, is 26 years old, and they're about to graduate with all this debt and no transferable skills. You see? Like, that's somebody that I think you're making videos for based on just even the 3 videos you've done. Is there a job for I think you can target parents and students. I think that there's a way to do that effectively. I think it's just a matter of packaging and framing. Listen to this one. Is there any job for someone who is not good at anything in particular? I'm an incompetent person. See, this person just has low self-esteem. My family is aware of that, just like myself. I'm not sure why that is since I was a really bright kid, but something happened and I became progressively dumber over the years. So you see, you need to help these people, and there is a big demand and a need for a lot of this. Um, and I think you could do very well going in that direction. And I think it'd be better for you based on the path that you are and what you said about career development for parents and kids. Um, I think that you need to address this for young adults. Um, Listen to this. Dean's list at 16, failing at 18, Icarus flew too close to the sun, now looking for a path forward. I'm an 18-year-old male, want to work in nature as a biologist, but part of me wants to pivot to psychology. In either case, I want to take a gap year after my bachelor's to teach English abroad. The problem is that I'm worried about graduating with a bad GPA from a minor university. I will give a lot of my background info because my situation is pretty unique and a little bit absurd. Blah 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 blah. So, I was homeschooled for many years. My parents are both highly educated, which I benefited from greatly. See, right there, boom. There's so many people. Like, yeah, I mean, at this point, I think you could just farm this subreddit for content. It's r/find a path. But the big thing that I'm getting at is from what you told me and from what your about section says, there are young adults who are just lost and parents who clearly don't know how to help them, don't know how to guide them, don't know how to identify or relate to what their struggles are because the world and education is just radically different than what parents grew up with 20 years ago when it comes to their kids. So, um, even the parents need a resource or to just point their kids at somebody else because they don't know how to deal with it and are not equipped, prepared, or educated enough to do it or to relate to it anymore. So they need a channel that can serve as a resource, and you could be that person. You could be that person. So those would be my thoughts for your channel, Devin. I think you have a lot to offer here. Again, I think your big issue is packaging. That's why I wanted to show you Mr. Dan Martell. But I also think there is some, clarity that you need with topic, but also with mission. You're asking about whether you should do shorts. I mean, they're not working for you right now, but you're also a brand new channel. If you want to pursue shorts, you could see how you feel about it. I think that frankly, this is a deep conversation that lends itself to long form. I don't really see the need to do shorts for this type of content, but that would be my point of view on it. But those are my thoughts around happiness hacks. I think that happiness hacks could be a resource and a channel for people who have no direction, which is most young adults today. They have no direction. I think the greatest crisis and tragedy in modern America today is a lack of purpose and a lack of vision for one's life and a lack of leadership and guidance because I do not think that the majority of adult parents, I do not think the majority of millennial parents, I do not think the majority of Gen X parents know how to prepare, relate to, or adapt for their children surviving in the world as it exists today. I think the world as it exists today is too different than a world people grew up with 20, 30 years ago. I do not think they understand how radically different it is. I do think they don't understand the disruption of the fourth industrial revolution. I don't think they understand the disruption and mental health crisis that was created by the smartphone and social media, in particular Instagram and TikTok. I do not think that they understand the landscape of a marketplace that has been disrupted by technology, AI, and automation. I do not think they understand the levels of indoctrination and pressure that the education system has behind it. And in pursuing frivolous, status based degrees that have no utility and no value in the real world, I don't think they understand people, um, young people being wanting to pursue something they're passionate about and then getting burnt out and also realizing it has no transferable skills or utility. I don't think that they're equipped to deal with those problems. I think that there needs to be support for these people. And I think they need to be told in a reasonable way from a positive frame, have someone who can inject practicality, positivity, and purpose into their life. I think that what young people are lacking is a positive frame and positive mindset and the ability to have a justified reason for better self-esteem that's not about giving them eighth place trophies for participation, but helping them build real self-esteem. So I think they need positivity through the frame of real self-esteem. I think that they need someone who can teach them to be more practical and pragmatic and not to follow their passion over a cliff, but try to figure out how their passion can be aligned to a reasonable amount of skill and utility that can serve others, and to learn how to be passionate about who they serve and spend time with instead of what they do, which I think is the mistake, and how to live a life of purpose where your actions are guided by the vision you've casted for your life and the lifestyle that you ultimately hope to have, and making choices where your actions match that ambition and are aligned. I think that the lack of this, the lack of any purpose, the lack of any pragmatic practicality, and I think the lack of positive framing and positive reinforcement and also positive examples is the real crisis of the modern era and the modern young adult. And I'm going to be controversial and say that I blame a lot of it on secularism and social media at scale. I'm just going to say it. So I think that if your content can offer resources, relief, and a reasonable solution, that it could be a blessing in these people's lives and it could dramatically change and impact them for the better. And I think that is the right frame for what your content can be given your background and what you do in the real world with your workshops and the great work that you do on the ground. I think that the great work you do on the ground could be enhanced with this brand where you bring these attributes to young adults and their families and their parents, because I think people are struggling because I don't think they know how to solve for these bigger problems because society has never faced them at this level of scale. So that's what my thoughts are. Let me know if you agree with my advice for Devin from Happiness Hacks and the vision I'm casting for his channel. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know in the chat if you're watching live. Let me know in the comments if you're watching the replay. Yeah, Devin says I hit the nail on the head. So thank you for that. Appreciate you, man. Don't worry, this is zero sugar, 0 calories root beer. Looks like we have one last channel review to get in for the evening. So we have Deep in the Field is our last one. Last call. We're calling it a night after this. It's way past Roberto's bedtime. Good thing that I don't have to get up early on Saturday. Hey, my channel started as a faceless football channel, and now I have my camera set up and want to talk about sports, entertainment, social issues, and culture. If you started as a faceless football channel, I would honestly I would actually stick to sports if you start as a faceless football channel, but we're gonna find out together. We're gonna find out together and see what you got going on here. Deep in the Field as a brand also screams football, so we'll see here. So keeping it real, one topic at a time, Deep in the Field. Okay, your weekly dose of fresh takes on entertainment, social issues, sports, and I don't I don't see the need to spread yourself thin, but let's see it. Let's talk about it. Let's see. I think what happens is people get bored with something that they built their channel on, and then they want to express themselves, and um that's a means of wanting to be consistent is, oh, what if I talk about other things I'm passionate about? The audience does not care. The audience doesn't care. You made a promise, you set expectations, you got to deliver on them. So my thought is, looking at this, I think you can cover the overlap of social issues, quote unquote, and culture only in the context as it applies to sports, and I would stick to football if I'm honest. If you want to do a little bit of social commentary, when there are football stars and NFL athletes that have a little bit of mess going on, you can talk about it. But look at your views. You know, you're a small channel, you've got some really good views going on here. Look at these views. if you want to talk, if you want to do a social commentary channel, I'd just start a new channel, man. I would start a new channel. If you want to talk about social issues and entertainment, I would make a new YouTube channel with the knowledge that you currently have, and I would make a reaction channel and do what MTR is doing. I would learn from what MTR is doing, and I would make a reaction channel to commentary and entertainment and drama in the fashion with your camera on. I know this channel's already monetized, so maybe that's the allure, but I would just start a channel from zero, get it up and running, turn on the camera, and I would do what MTR is doing right now, and I'd make a reaction channel that can be all about the commentary, all about the mess. But for this channel, I would focus on football and I would keep the promise of putting out those videos on a weekly basis. And I would be consistent there because you have the capacity for this channel to do very well. You get massive outlier views when you do this well. You punch well above your weight class. These views are phenomenal, to be honest with you. And your biggest downfall is consistency. So I would stick with this if I'm being perfectly honest. And I would make a second channel that lets you show off your personality and cover all of the drama and entertainment. And there's views in that, and there's money to be had. You've seen how well MTR is doing mediocre tutorials and reviews. I would do a similar channel to that on another channel. I would leave this one alone and let this one be deep in the field. Let this one be about football. Let this one focus on the NFL and please those fans and honor that commitment. So I would be locked in on this and I would start um, that commentary channel. Now, what I'll say this channel is doing excellent at is thumbnails are good. These are good, solid thumbnails, good topic selection. I would say it could strengthen up its consistency because there was a big old gap where you had 4 months of not posting content. I mean, maybe it was burnout, getting discouraged, getting some burnout, even though the views were great, in my opinion. Maybe it was just feeling tired of same old, same old. That happens to creators, but it's like creators cannot um, just dip to a new topic when they get bored because the audience is not going to usually come through for that. When we get bored, if we want to do something radically different, different promise, different value proposition, it's time to start another channel if we're bored, to be honest. It's a hard lesson. It's something creators struggle with. But you might see that these things overlap in your mind because you watch all of it. That's not how YouTube works for audiences or algorithms. You have to lock in, you have to focus. If you want consistent views, consistent revenue, you got to produce consistent content with consistent themes. I think, though, there is views to be had in entertainment and culture. Make another channel for it, and I think it'll do well because this channel, for its topic and subject matter, is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, and it's doing it very, very well. And I see no need to disrupt that. I say do videos on this once a week. And then the thing that'll keep you from being bored is you can do commentary on social issues, entertainment, and media. You could do a daily reaction channel on that like MTR does, and you'll never get bored. For the most part, you do a daily reaction channel on that. Hey, it's 2025. You got more than enough material, and you'll never get bored. Other than that, I say keep this channel as it is, but make it consistent and put out a video weekly. Why do I say that? There's a channel that's focused just on the Chicago Bears. It's Bears Yard. Channel just focused on the Chicago Bears. It's almost to 1,000 subscribers, getting good views. Let's see what the most popular views are. Oh, almost to 1,000 subscribers. Look at the views here with someone just focusing on the Chicago Bears. Okay. So when I say there's consistent views, if you just stick to football, um, it's there. I wouldn't say you have to do the helmet videos weekly to duplicate its success. I also think you shouldn't just shoot for the exclusively the I want these views, I want these views, I want these views. I think that you should do other content and then try to find ways to make that other content level out, because you can't just do helmet videos, but you have to consider that there are other ways to approach ranking videos, and there are other things that are new in the league besides the helmets, and there are other things that people would care about. And you've gotten views doing something other than the helmets. It's just that that got you the most views. But look at this, the training camp fights. Hey, there could be something with that. You know what? You haven't tried something? You haven't tried compilations of the most savage moments. You haven't done that. And again, in terms of things that if you're gonna not focus on one team, I would say look for news that people care about, because that's what Bears Yard does, is focuses on like keeping people up to date. You see he has just one team to focus on. Look at the views he gets and he focuses on one team. If you can cover trades and what's going on and all these other things and the draft, and you could do that and you cover more than one team, there are views to be had. So I wouldn't get hung up on the fact that, oh, I got all these views for these helmet views videos. Yeah, you got those views, but not enough of them converted to subscribers. So I would say that you shouldn't just focus on the helmet videos. I think you can do enough weekly videos if you just cover what's going on with the NFL in general. What's new? There are enough people who always care about what's new. And again, I think there's stuff you could learn from Bears Yard, even though his channel is half your size. I think there's a lot you can learn. But your thumbnail game is impressive, so there's not a lot there. He could learn from you on thumbnails. But in terms of the consistency, there's stuff you could learn from Bears Yard. Maybe even you guys can connect. But I think for to not get bored, I think you should make a separate channel that's similar to MTR, and that you should do commentary, and you could do that daily or a couple times a week, and then you won't get bored. You can get a channel up with some more views, you can get some more revenue out of that. And there's more than enough mess to cover out here in the entertainment streets. Yep. But those are my thoughts for deep in the field. I think that we can see that consistency is still king when it comes to content. I think that there is something to be said for not always chasing the shadow of your most successful content. Sometimes it can be a distraction, and discourage you from pursuing other avenues that could be very good for you. So I think that that would be some of the advice that I would give. The thumbnails were solid for this channel. Can't really complain about that too much. Consistency and not taking those big gaps, I think, is a big deal. And I think there's ways when you're not covering just one team to do it. I mean, we see how consistent Bears Yard is, and it can only cover the Chicago Bears. So, what do you all think? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Let me know in the comment section if you're watching the replay. Let me know in the chat if you're still watching live. Boom. I think that's solid. Touchdown. Woo. Yep, you're very welcome, deep in the field. Appreciate you. And that's a wrap. That is it for tonight on the stream. Thank you to our mods for holding it down for a 3.5 hour stream late on a Friday night, bleeding into a Saturday bloody morning. I am spent. It is way past Roberto's bedtime here, but I've enjoyed my time with you all tonight. Thank you to everybody who did super chats. Thank you to all the mods, and thank you to the chat for just holding down the community. I'm not going to do a big production of parting ways with you this evening. I think it was a great stream. I think we had a great time. I think we all learned a lot. Links and resources are in the description. Mods are going to post some of those things in the chat for you as well. Again, wonderful shout out to our great sponsors, our friends over at 1 of 10 for content strategy in terms of the best tool for content strategy to help you with thumbnails, topics, and titles, as well as understand what's relevant in timing for your videos. And not a sponsor of the stream, but a sponsor of my recent talk at Social Media Marketing World. We're just going to give a shout out to our friends over at Kajabi, the best platform for building coaching businesses, courses, cohorts, and paid membership communities. I've been with them for 7 years, still a paying customer, even though I work with them from time to time, and they were nice enough to put me up on a billboard. I still pay for the product just like you. So shout out to our friends at Kajabi. We'll try and get the links for you in the chat and in the description for them. If you guys are curious about the t-shirts and hoodies here, you can find my merch at either robertoblake.com/shirts or robertoblake.store if you care about that. But more importantly, I'd rather you guys check out the free Creator Foundations course, check out my book, Create Something Awesome, and see if you're interested in joining us over in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group, where we do our office hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays, live group feedback for our members. We also get to post 7 days a week to the private group and get feedback as well if you prefer. Not everyone likes to jump on camera with us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but we still try to make sure you get answers. So we have all of those things. Links will be in the description down below. I am going to be calling it a night. I am well past Roberto's bedtime, and so I still have a productive day ahead of me, even though I don't have to wake up first thing in the morning like some of you. I still have to have a productive day tomorrow. I've got a few calls that I have to do for some folks, and I also owe you guys a video for Saturday. We're trying to post as much as we can in April. I was traveling, so I don't think I can do every day in April, but I'm going to do every day in April that I can do. And so that is the goal, to just edit some more videos, get some more information out, get you guys some more resources. Not even going to really worry about the views. I'm still going to put all the effort in the world into the videos, the thumbnails, and stuff like that. But the thing is, I've reached a point where I know how my education content works. I know that some things will just take longer to get their views. And the thing that I'm most concerned about at this point is just I want to build the best content possible for educating creators. I don't need it to always be acknowledged by getting the most views. I think that there are just some times where entertainment and edutainment will beat teaching, and I can live with that. I'm not an edutainer, I'm a teacher. I'm not an edutainer. I'm an educator, plain and simple. I happen to have an entertaining, and some people have said charismatic or charming personality. I try, but I would much rather you be educated than be entertained. There are enough people that want to farm your attention and not create value, and I have no desire or interest to be one of them. I will take 10 times or 100 times less views from them. Like, I will just suck it up on the views, as I'd rather create value and create more producers of value than just create another consumer of mess, you know? And there's nothing wrong with blowing off some steam and enjoying some entertainment. I certainly do. But I just feel like for those of us who want to be value creators, for those of us who want to improve our lives, we have to curb our consumerism, and we have to create value, and we have to build our skills, and we have to build our communities. And that's just how it is. And the thing is, it's not always going to be fun. People are going to have their fun up front, and it's not always going to be a good thing down the road. And I think that we're seeing the long tail of that. I think we're seeing the long tail of what happens when you play 10,000 hours of Call of Duty instead of spending 1,000 hours learning a skill. It is what it is. I think that there just needs to be more people who are willing to draw that line in the sand and say, you know what? I'll take less attention, I'll take less people, I'll take all of that, but I'm going to create more value, and I'm going to create a deeper impact instead of having a broader reach. And I'm at the phase of my life where I want a deeper impact more than I want a broader reach. I've got my silver play button. I do believe one day it'll be a gold play button. I have some clients gold play buttons, so it's okay. So, and I got a client's play button from back when they were big, so I still got a big one. But I digress. The point is, um, I'm just at that age in my now early 40s where everything is depth instead of width. So that's where I'm at. Anyway, have a great night or morning wherever you are, everybody. Doug, I'm gonna let you go since you gotta hit the Nick Nimmons stream in another 8 hours here, 7, 8 hours here. You guys stay awesome. Keep creating value. Value first. I'll catch you on the next one. We're gonna close out, and you're gonna learn a little bit more about Awesome Creator Academy, the mission that I have for that, and what I'm doing. Take care. Becoming a content creator can be a very lonely process and adventure, but it doesn't have to be. When I first got started going from 0 to 100,000 subscribers, I had to do it all by myself. I didn't have a community of like-minded and like-hearted creators to talk to or to ask for advice, and I certainly didn't have a mentor to guide me along the way. I built the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group because when I was getting started, what would have meant the world to me is not to have to struggle alone when it comes to being a full-time content creator. If I had had a community of creators that I could talk to and share information with, I would have avoided a lot of mistakes in my early career, and there would have been opportunities with brand deals where I would have gotten a better understanding of how to negotiate, and I wouldn't have undersold myself. I wouldn't have been taken advantage of in those early situations. So in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group, myself and our co-instructor Andy Rivera, we meet twice a week for office hours with our creators, and we share information, we talk about how we're building our creator businesses, and we offer constructive criticism and critique on the things that we're working on for our projects. You'll be part of a community of usually around 100 like-minded creators who are taking this seriously just like you are. You'll also have all access as a pro group member to all of our past, present, and future courses, training, templates, digital downloads, and swipe files. You have full access to our creator blueprints where you'll see our systems and the frameworks that we use to execute. You know, you always fall or rise to the standard of your systems. A lot of people really underestimate how important that is. We have digital download templates that can help you so you don't have to start with a blank canvas. These done for you files are actually incredibly helpful, especially for things like your thumbnails, your media kits, and anything you need for your branding as a content creator to look professional. We have email swipe files that help you with reaching out to brands. We have great information in helping you price yourself and build your packages appropriately. And remember, as part of the pro group, you have the opportunity to ask questions from myself and all the other creators participating. And so this means that if you need to ask questions about a negotiation or a brand deal, there's something you're not sure about, you're trying to find a better monetization opportunity with merch or affiliates, you have people who have done it before, who are already making money that you can reach out to for advice. As I said, when I was starting out and I was flying solo, this is the thing that I wish I'd had the opportunity to be a part of, and it would have made all the difference in the world in helping me be an even more successful content creator. If you have questions, you can always reach out via support. We're happy to help you figure out if the pro group is right for you. Also, we do have the opportunity if you become a VIP member, if you also would like quarterly one-on-one coaching with me directly. Now go out there and create something awesome today, and hopefully we'll see you in the pro group. Take care.